Well, a very pleasant good evening, everyone, and we welcome you to Grand Lake Health System Field at the Roughrider Athletic Complex on a beautiful Friday night for football, where the Bath Wildcats come to Grand Lake Health Systems Field to take on the St. Mary's Roughriders. The Bath Wildcats come in with a record of 2-4 in the Western Buckeye League, 2-5 overall. The Roughriders are 5-2 overall, 4-2 in the Western Buckeye League. I'm Joe Hurlbert, and I'll be bringing you all the play-by-play action of tonight's contest between the Bath Wildcats and the St. Mary's Roughriders. Joining me again in the booth is Zach Farrell. Zach, excellent night for football. I don't think there's any rain in this forecast.
No, Joe. It looks much better tonight than it did last week. No mist out there, no cloud cover period, and a little chilly. Probably get a little chilly tonight, but overall, that's football weather in Ohio.
Absolutely. Well, the Bath Wildcats come in, as I said, with a record of 2-4 in the Western Buckeye League. They've had their problems. They've had their ups and downs. They lost last week to the Wapakoneta Redskins by a score of 27-3. The Roughriders had an easy victory last week over Elida, 62-14. And if you listen to the Doug Fry show this week, you know, every once in a while you need a game like that. And the positive about last week's game is that he played everybody. Anybody that dressed got an opportunity to play offensively and defensively. A lot of things stuck out for Coach Fry. He's got a good young group coming up, and there's nothing like playing under the lights on Friday night.
Yeah, if you heard our broadcast, we couldn't even name some of those numbers that were out there because we found out later it was freshmen, so They weren't on our list. And what a great experience for some freshman guys getting under the lights. I think he said he got 5 or 6 of them out there playing last Friday.
Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to take a look at the Bath Wildcats of Ryan Rendell, and we'll do that and more as we continue with Rough Rider football on your Rider Nation station right after this.
Allglaze Equipment Rental is your source for all of your equipment needs. Whether you're a contractor or a homeowner with a project, we can help get the job done more efficiently. Check us out at 1900 Salina Road in St. Mary's or allglazeequipmentrental.com, or just give us a call, 419-394-7883. Allglaze Equipment Rental. Stop in and see them today.
Albert Sporting Goods, located in downtown St. Mary's, takes pride in serving retail and team customers throughout the area and the state of Ohio. Our products consist of individual and team equipment for all community organizations, club teams, high school, and collegiate sports. Our on-site services include embroidery, screen printing, digitizing, and graphic design. For all your sporting goods needs, stop in at Albert Sporting Goods, 121 West Spring Street in St. Mary's. We welcome you back once again to Grand Lake Health System Field. Joe Hurlbert alongside Zach Farrell. And Zach, before we talk about the Bath Wildcats, tonight is a very special evening where it is the Hall of Fame night. And we got the inductees that are on the field now for their presentations, but we'll be talking a little bit about them more in detail at halftime. But if you've got, go through who the inductees are.
Yeah, it's really, really neat, Joe. This, the Memorial High School Alumni Foundation Hall of Fame it's been a couple of years now since they've had a new class. And I know there's been a very good group of people that got it spearheaded for this year. This year we have for the academic and professional achievement, Dr. Donald E. Thomas Jr. He was a St. Mary's Memorial class of 1979. For athletic achievement, we have Mr. Robert G. Vogel. He was a Memorial High School class of 2000. And then for service to St. Mary's City Schools, we have Mr. Albert J. Prof. Kohler. And he spent 43 years as a teacher and administrator in St. Mary's City Schools.
And I'll tell you how old I am. I had him in school as a junior. I think I had him in junior English. And so very, very excellent educator, in my opinion. Zach mentioned Dr. Donald Thomas, one of the inductees tonight. I also want to pass along that if you want to check out the interview on Rider Nation Station, their vodcast with Doug Spencer, he interviewed Dr. Donald Thomas on one of his vodcasts. So you can always go to YouTube, Rider Nation Station, and check the vodcast, and then click on that to hear the interview with Dr. Donald Thomas.
That was such a great interview, Joe.
Yeah.
45 minutes, I think, and I felt like it was 10 minutes.
Really?
One of the better interviews, I think, that has been on there.
Well, the Bath Wildcats, as I mentioned, they come in with a record of 2-4, 2-5 overall. Their head coach is Ryan Rendell. And offensively, they come in averaging 12.7 points per game. The averaging 107 yards per game on the ground. They're averaging 171 yards through the air. And total offense, they're averaging 236 yards per game, which ranks them last in the Western Buckeye League. But when I talked to Coach Fry earlier this week in the Doug Fry Show, that St. Mary's always, it seems, has a bullseye on their back. And Bath could not win another game the rest of the season, but if they beat the St. Mary's Roughriders, especially here on their home turf, it will make for a successful season.
Right, it definitely ruined the St. Mary's season as well. It definitely put us completely out of the WBL race and probably out of the playoff race as well.
Well, offensively, the Bath Wildcats will start 3 seniors, 4 juniors, 2 sophomores, and 2 freshmen. So they're a very young ball club, so with a lot to look forward to in the future, but I'm sure they're going to play the Rough Riders well. Dallin McDermott is their quarterback. He's a junior. He's hitting on 57% of his passes, 40 of 70 for 559 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. So we'll keep an eye on him throughout the night. He's got some good receivers. Ian Armamount, Carter Partapiano, and Zach Simpson.
Yeah, Joe, I watched a little bit of the Wapak Bath film from last week, and it was really interesting. Bath runs a sort of pro-style offense, under center, offset eye, maybe sometimes in the regular eye, usually 1 or 2 receivers out, and then they'll switch to the full spread. And it seems to be about 50-50. They run a lot with their big fullback, it seems, and then they also sometimes will just switch to the spread, and they didn't try a ton of short passes. They tried a lot of over the top, though. They tried to throw a lot of deep balls, but also gave a lot of opportunities for Wapak to almost intercept them. So I'm looking for St. Mary's to step up and maybe take advantage of some of those tonight.
Absolutely. On the defense, Bath will start 1 senior on the defensive side of the football, 4 juniors, and 6 sophomores. This is a defense that's giving up 22 points per game. They're allowing 151 yards per game on the ground. They're giving up 187 yards per game passing and 338 yards per game as far as total team defense is concerned. They got a lot of kids that'll go both ways. Carter Parlapiano goes both ways. Lex Bodecker is a receiver and also be free safety. Ian Armatrout is a strong safety and a wide receiver. Zach Simpson's a cornerback and a receiver. So Canyon Poling is a defensive tackle. He's probably the largest player they've got on the field on the offensive and defensive line. And he also goes, as I mentioned, on the offensive side. So extremely young, but we'll see how this plays out.
What I noticed about their defense was how hard they played Wapak in the first quarter. So I think, maybe going both ways with a lot of those players, they're getting tired and they're wearing down. Wapak really scored most of their points in the second half. So you can't, if you're St. Mary's, you can't overlook that they have some talent. They always play St. Mary's hard. So if they can somehow put that same effort that they had against Wapak against us for 3-4 quarters, we're going to have a hard game tonight. So it'll be interesting to see if Bath comes out like they did with Wapak and sort of lose energy and lose effort, or if they put it all together tonight.
Well, right now they're having the passing of the colors here at Grand Lake Health Systems Field. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll take a look at the St. Mary's Roughriders, and we'll talk and we'll give their starting lineups when we come back right after this.
Guarneri's on Spring Street, home of the signature Big Ralph sub, pizza, and calzone. Come try our thirst-quenching Riderade before, during, and after the game. Stop in after the game and meet your friends. It's Guarneri's. Give them a call, 419-394-2244.
Varsity Lanes in St. Mary's, home of the Roughriders 2018-2019 Boys and Girls State Bowling Champions. Strike up delicious food, 32 taps, Queen of Hearts, and nightly food and drink specials, as well as great family atmosphere. Also remember that carryouts are available. Stop in and see them after the game, and go Riders.
Unique Awards and Signs, here to take care of your signage, graphic, awards, and gift customization needs. From banners for your graduation or corporate sponsors, to awards recognizing those dedicated employees or champion sports teams. Stop in at 1865 Salina Road and see how we can help. Give us a call, 419-394-1612.
All righty, we welcome you back once again to Grand Lake Health Systems Field. Joe Hurlbert alongside Zach Farrell. Well, both teams are on the field. We're going to have the playing of the national anthem by the St. Mary's All Brass Band. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back right after this. You just heard the national anthem being played by the St. Mary's Memorial All Brass Marching Band. Zach, the St. Mary's Roughriders, let's take a quick look at them. They come in 5-2 overall, 4-2 in the Western Buckeye League. And when you look at the computer rankings in Division III, Region 12, the Roughriders find themselves in the 5th spot behind Dayton, Chaminade, Julian, Wapakoneta, Franklin, Trotwood, Madison, and then the Roughriders. And then the top 8 is rounded out by Hamilton Ross, Hamilton Baden, and Cincinnati Hughes. So the Roughriders must continue to win if they want to have some postseason play.
Yeah, unfortunately, Sydney hasn't helped us out very much. They've really dropped some games over the past few weeks. And even though the Roughriders have kept winning, unfortunately, the Roughriders have dropped a little bit there in the standings down to 5. But I talked to a couple people that are a little bit smarter than I am at some of those computer rankings. And we can't say that we control our own destiny yet. But if we can win out, it's very likely that we'll still be in the playoff hunt.
Absolutely. Well, the Rough Rider offense is led by senior quarterback Kurt Bupp, averaging 54% of his passes, hitting 13 of 24 attempts for 207 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Senior running back Ty Howe leads this team in rushing with 65 carries, 440 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He has 6 touchdowns on the season. 2 of them come by special team, and I think he's also got an interception return for a touchdown as well. So when you look at all-purpose yards, Ty Howe is right amongst the league leaders in all-purpose yardage. Of course, the Bath Wildcats have the league's leading punter in Lex Bodecker, and the Rough Riders have the league's leading punt returner in Ty Howe.
Yeah, you see Ty Howe scoring from all over the field. Easily, you can call him the most consistent player on St. Mary's team. I really like, though, what Coach Fry said about Kurt Bupp this week in your interview, Joe. Talked about his moxie and how that kind of trickles down to the rest of the team. Said he really has an attitude that he brings out there. It trickles down to the other guys. What I like about him is that he doesn't make mistakes. You don't see him throw interceptions. When he scrambles, he protects the ball, and that's all you can ask for a St. Mary's quarterback is you take advantage when you get the opportunities and you don't make mistakes because you know that the system, the wing T is going to eventually win out.
Take care of itself.
Right.
Yeah, so there's really not a lot of need to toss the football. Obviously, you throw the football every now and then to keep your defense honest. That opens up your ground game. But I'll tell you what, when you've got running backs like Ethan Wedding, Hunter Fraley, and Ty Howe, there's not a lot of need for throwing the football. Well, the St. Mary's Rough Riders will receive the football to start the game. And going back will be Dylan Troglin, Ty Howell, and I believe Ethan Wedding will join them back there.
It's about 50 degrees on the field, Joe, so a little bit chillier than last week, but, man, beautiful night, just no clouds.
Absolutely. Well, the officials are sprinting out, getting set for the kickoff. We're about 25 seconds away from the kickoff of this game between the Bath Wildcats and the St. Mary's Roughriders. Joe Hurlbert alongside Zach Farrell. And while I got a moment, I'd like to send along everybody that's listening. If you would just take a little bit of time, a moment, to just go to the comment section and text to us where you are listening this ball game from. And Doug says, here's what will happen. They're going to say, I'm in the living room or I'm in the kitchen. No, we want to know what city and state you're from listening to this ball game. We would appreciate that a lot.
We've heard that it's been all over the country, and that's one of the reasons why that Rider Nation station got started, so that we could put it online and people, Rough Riders, alumni from all over the world could listen.
Absolutely. This kickoff is being brought to you by your State Farm agent, Laura Yelton. Be a legend. Ensure your life. Kind of a short kick, picked up there by Hemmelgarn. Hemmelgarn to the 35, to the 40, finds an opening to the 50, across midfield to the 40, to the 35, and is finally tossed down by number 19 on the tackle, but a good run, I believe, by Hemmelgarn. So the Rough Riders will start this ball game in excellent field position.
Rough Riders will have a 1st and 10.
Yeah, 1st and 10 at the 31-yard line of Bath.
Yeah, 19 Zach Simpson really made a touchdown saving tackle there.
Did. So and I talked to Doug Fry earlier this week. Special teams play this year has been key and vital. Aiden Hinkle with the carry. So Aiden Hinkle will start at fullback behind the Rough Rider offense, which includes up front Gavin Ward, Stash Patterson, Riley Swigert at center, Logan Allen at right guard, Devin Shannon, and Blake Clenore. Dylan Troglin will be at wide out, Ethan Wedding, Aiden Hinkle, and Ty Howe will be your running backs behind senior quarterback Kurt Buck. It'll be 2nd down and 8 for the Rough Riders, just over the 30-yard line of Bath. Turn, gives the ball to Hinkle. Hinkle plows forward off the left side, and we'll give him a gain of about 6 on the play.
Good to see Aiden Hinkle back in that starting lineup. Kind of took a back seat over the past couple weeks after having that breakout game. Definitely going to use him tonight, though, as kind of a battering ram on the inside of that line.
Hunter Fraley checks into the ball game for the Rough Riders. Aiden Hinkle will run to the sideline. So it'll be Fraley and Wedding behind senior quarterback Kurt Buck. Buck on the sneak. He gets about 5 yards on the play.
It's nice when you can do a quarterback sneak for 5 yards, Joe.
It'll be a 1st down for the Rough Riders as they've taken the opening kickoff and marched it right down the field. 10:33 remaining here in the first quarter on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. No score. Kurt Buck gets the play from head coach Doug Fry, runs it back in, relays it to his team. Riley Swigert will be out over center. Buck will turn, give the ball to Hinkle. He'll plow forward behind the offensive line. A short gain. We'll give him a gain of about 2. We'll call it 2nd down and 8.
Yeah, they tried to trap there, Joe, but unlike last week against Elida, that one got stopped. It didn't seem like they could stop any trap last week against Elida, or Elida couldn't seem to stop any trap that St. Mary's ran last week. A lot of untouched touchdowns came from right up the middle.
Absolutely. Troglin and Wedding. Wedding gets the pitch, runs left, cuts back, and is tackled by a host of Wildcat defenders. We'll give him a gain of about 2 on the carry.
2 yards, brings up a 3rd down and 6.
We'll call it 3rd down and 6 on the short carry by Ethan Wedding. Now let me ask you this. Back in the day when you played, did they use messenger guards?
Yes. Yep.
Messenger guards.
Right.
So you basically had 3 guards, and one of them just ran the plays in back and forth. So 2 of them did.
Yep.
Here, Kurt Buck runs to the sideline, takes the play back in. Buck will give the ball to Ty Howe, left side. He's inside the 10, cuts back inside the 5-yard line where he's brought down at about the, we'll call it about the 4-yard line.
Nice sweep out around the left side. A little bit of penetration there from Bath, but Ty Howe just kind of juked him and then got hit about the 1st down marker and pulled him another 2 or 3 yards there. Great run.
Clock continues to run. 8:47 remaining here in the first quarter on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. First and goal, St. Mary's at the Bath 3-yard line. Full house backfield behind Kurt Bupp. I think he's going to sneak it. And there he goes. And he gets a push from his offensive back. It'll be close. We'll see where they spot the football.
Carried by number 2, Kurt
Hey, if
Bupp.
you can get 5 yards on that QB sneak, why not sneak it? I know as a center, I always wanted the QB sneak because I always thought I could
Taken down
clear
by
away
five
through the
for
middle.
Wildcats.
Joe, you know, you're talking about those guards. I still remember Jared Ackley, Andrew Steyer, and Dylan Wilgus. Those three would rotate in that 2004 year.
Mhm.
And, they would run the plays in. Sometimes, you know, coach would call Corey Vossler over, but most of the time it was running a guard in.
First and goal at the 2-yard line. The quarterback sneak, I believe, and he is in for a touchdown.
Carried by Kurt Bupp, results in a Rough Rider touchdown.
Kurt Bupp takes it over from 2 yards out. The Rough Riders draw first blood with 7:52 remaining here in the first quarter. They now lead 6-0 as Brandon Bowers will get set to attempt the point after out of the hold of Kurt Bupp.
Yeah, all three of those QB sneaks were over the left side of the line. He's definitely favoring that side. So I want to give a shout out to Riley Swigert, Stash Patterson, and Gavin Ward over there getting the job done up front.
Here's the snap, and they're going to fake it. Bupp's going to roll to his right, throws it in, and in and out of the hands of Ethan Wedding. So the Rough Riders attempted a 2-point conversion off the fake, but it fell incomplete. So the Rough Riders will lead 6-0 with 7:52 remaining here in the first quarter. We'll take this quick break. We'll come right back right after this.
Score is Rough Riders 6, Wildcats nothing with 7 minutes, 52 seconds.
Vogel's
left.
Bake Shop, making thousands of donuts daily. Open 7 days a week with stores in St. Mary's, Salina, and Wapak. Also found in Wagner IGA stores in New Bremen, Minster, and Fort Laramie. Fellowship of Christian Athletes. The Fellowship of Christian Athletes is a middle school and high school club looking to spread God's love throughout numerous schools and communities in our local area. FCA's favorite play of the game is when both teams come together at the end of the game to pray. FCA, making a difference in the lives of our student athletes. God bless you, sports fans.
Alrighty, we welcome you back once again to Grand Lake Health Systems Field. Joe Hurlbert alongside Zach Farrell, where the Rough Riders lead 6-0 on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. At 7:52 remaining here in the first quarter. This kickoff is being brought to you by your State Farm agent, Lori Yelton. Be a legend, ensure your life. Brandon Bowers will do the kicking off for the Rough Riders. Gets his foot into it. He'll drive it down to about the 7-yard line. Where the Bath kickoff returner brings it out to about the 30-yard line.
Wildcats to about the 30-yard line, taken down by Slew Rough Riders.
Yeah, a big group of guys tackled him there. Not really sure who got in there, but looks like maybe Hunter Fraley. And
once again, we will let you know that the Bath white jerseys with baby blue numbers is very difficult for us to see up here in the booth. We'll do the best that we can, and we brought binoculars as well.
that's right.
You guys have numbers for me? I can't see.
Dallin McDermott is the quarterback for the Bath Wildcats. He'll turn and he'll give the football, I think, to Canyon Poling.
Carried by the Wildcats.
I think Lucas Walter, and Ethan Wedding in there on the tackle.
Taken down by number 6, Ethan Wedding. Number 4, Lucas
Still got
Walter.
about 6 yards out of that, though.
It'll be 2nd down and 4 for the Wildcats. You guys have a starting lineup or something? I can at least mark some numbers on for myself. Who's playing quarterback 2? 26.
We've got a timeout on the field. The gain on the previous play was of 6 yards, so we'll call it 2nd down and 4. Officials are checking the spot of the football, I believe. No,
Ooh, some sort of penalty, marking them back 5 yards.
yeah, they are.
You know, Joe, on that extra point, I saw Coach Fry get having a word with his quarterback. I'm not sure if that was a called play or if some sort of signals got mixed up, but looks like maybe that was not an intentional 2-point try.
McDermott in the gun. He goes back to pass. He's looking for his receiver. Pass falls incomplete.
Intended for number 6, Ian Armentrout.
Pass was intended for Armitrout. It'll be 3rd down and 8 for the Roughriders. Third down and 8 for the Bath Wildcats. Dallin McDermott will bring the Bath Wildcats out. He'll be in the shotgun. One setback beside him to his right. Calls a signal. There's a flag on the play, and play is stopped. So we'll see what the call is on the field. Illegal procedure on the Bath Wildcats. False start, so we're going to back it up 5 more yards. So it'll be 3rd down and 13.
Well, St. Mary's defense really getting bailed out here from a couple Bath penalties. That first down, they were able to run it for 6 yards, and since then it's been 2 5-yard penalties to push them back now to 3rd and 13.
Third down and a long 13 for the Bath Wildcats. Dallin McDermott, the quarterback for the Wildcats, in the shotgun position. 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. He rolls to his right, and he's looking for number 6. Number 5.
Number 5, Blaine Albright.
Blaine Albright. Pass falls incomplete, so it'll be 4th down. It'll bring up a punting situation for the Bath Wildcats.
Good pressure that time by the defensive line. 97, Blake Canor got in the backfield, forced that quarterback to roll out and make a kind of a hasty decision there to throw it.
Lex Bodecker will do the punting for the Bath Wildcats. Back to receive the punt, Ty Howell and Dylan Troglin. They'll be standing about their own 30-yard line. There's the snap, a high snap. He gets it down. Good kick. Howell has it at the 35. Right straight up the middle he goes. Cuts to his right. He's to the 45. He's to the 40. He's got an open field. He's got a blocker out in front. He cuts back to the 10, 5, and touchdown, Ty Howell. Here comes a late flag. Late flag on the play. I see 1 flag on the play. Do you see any others?
I don't. I tell you what, though, the official that threw that flag was probably 30 or 40 yards down the field. I don't know how he was able to make that call.
Well, I think this one's going to be brought back. One of the officials coming over to talk to head coach Doug Fry as to what happened. And again, like Zach said, the official was about 20 yards downfield that threw the play, and he was trailing the play.
It was not that long.
No. 6:23 remaining here in the first quarter. They're going to bring this one back. But a good job by Ty Howell on the punt return. He took it to the house, but a penalty on the play will bring it back, and they'll set it down at the Bath Wildcat 29-yard line.
Yeah, the disappointing thing, too, is I don't think it was really part of the play at all. I think it was 10, 15 yards behind the runner. So not really a necessary block in the back. If it was a block in the back, we'll have to look at that in the rules of the game this week.
Troglin on the carry for the Roughriders. He'll get it across the 30-yard line. And we'll give him a gain of about 1, so we'll call it 2nd down and 9.
I tell you what, Joe, there's something about when Ty Howell gets one of these kickoffs and punts, though. There's just a tenacity about the way he runs. That, like you said, he was about 15 yards right as soon as he caught it. Just great agility.
Curb up, counter back. There goes Howell. Howell gets it across the 32 to the 31-yard line. A short gain for Ty Howell on the counter back. 5:34 remaining on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. Clock continues to run. 3rd down and 7.
And number 22 for Bath, Trey Johnson, playing that middle linebacker position. Doing pretty well so far tonight. Disrupting a lot of plays and making a lot of tackles there in the middle.
Ty Howell on the sweep left for the Roughriders. We got another flag on the play, and he's run out of bounds for a loss for about 2 yards. We'll see what the flag is all about, but a loss on the play. So what turned out to be a touchdown for the Roughriders on the punt return is really kind of taking the wind out of their sails on this particular drive. So they're going to move the ball back 15 yards.
Yeah, they called a hold on Aiden Hinkle. It didn't look that bad of a hold to me. He turned his guy backwards and kind of pushed him down. But I want to remind everybody that we have rules of the game every Thursday night with Mark Cisco. So we'll take a look at all these close calls.
Absolutely. Ty Howell on the wing. Buck goes back to pass. He's looking for Bauer. Or no, he's looking for Austin Parks. And he overthrows Parks down at the 5-yard line. So it'll bring up 4th down and 20 for the Roughriders. And Brandon Bowers will come in to do the punting for the St. Mary's Roughriders.
I like the play call. Of course, it was 3rd and 20, so you thought that they were probably going to pass. But you look at throwing it to Austin Parks, who's 6'7", and his arms are just about as long as his height. So, you get anywhere close to him there, you might be able to reach up and get it.
Bowers' punt is going to hit the turf, and it gets a Bath bounce, and it's down by Ethan Freewald, who's down on the play for the Roughriders. So the Bath Wildcats will have the ball 1st and 10 at their own, we'll call it their own 18-yard line. 4:51 remaining here in the first quarter on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. 6-0 is our score. The Roughriders on top. And we did have somebody text in and said they are listening to us in Tazewell, Tennessee.
Wow.
I think that's how you say it. Tazewell or Tazewell, Tennessee. But nonetheless, Tennessee.
So if you're listening to us right now and you're further away than Tennessee, be sure to comment in there. Let us know where we're at. We'll have a little bit of a competition here as the game goes.
McDermott's pass to number 19. It's caught by Zach Simpson. It'll be close to a Bath 1st down. Tackled by Dylan Troglin.
Number 59, Trace Mabry.
And Trace Mabry in on the play for St. Mary's. It'll be 2nd down, and we'll call it 2 for the Bath Wildcats.
On the play will be Bath Wildcats. 2nd down, 2 to go.
Rough Rider defense up front. Blake Knorr, Trace Mabry, Trey Fisher. Hunter Fultz are the front 4 for the Rough Riders. McDermott hands off to his running back, number 26.
Hands off to number 26.
That's Carter Partapiano.
Parlaplano.
It's every week, Joe. We got these names. Nice job there by 35, Tanner Howe, stepping into the gap and plugging the hole, so to speak. But unfortunately, it was too many yards down the field after the first down, after the running back had already picked up the 1st down.
So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Bath Wildcats. Football setting at their own 30-yard line. Dallin McDermott, the quarterback, in the shotgun. Drops. He's being chased down by Brandon Paul, but the pass was intended for Blaine Albright. It falls incomplete. So it'll bring up 2nd down and 10 for the Bath Wildcats. Also, we talked about getting on Rider Nation Station and listening to the podcast of Dr. Donald Thomas. You can also get on there and listen to the podcast of Mary Wilson as she talks about Hall of Fame inductee Albert Prof. Kohler, which is an excellent interview as well. So if you get an opportunity, do that as well. McDermott passes it out to number 19, Zach Simpson. It'll be a gain of about 5 on the play. Brandon Paul in on the stop for the Rough Riders. So it'll be 3rd down, and we'll call it 6.
Joe, we have a new stadium announcer tonight. He's a former football coach, and he always liked to call the third down as when the Rough Riders were on defense, the money down, and he's bringing it into the stadium tonight on the announcements.
Absolutely, you may have heard him. There's a lot of pressure by Tanner Howe. They get the ball out to number 26, Carter Partapiano, and he's going to be a little bit short of the first down, I believe. Good pressure by Tanner Howe as he blitzed from his safety position and kind of forced the play, but they picked up a little bit of yardage, but it's a little bit short of the first down, and I think Bath's going to be forced to punt the football.
Yeah, they're sending out the punt team now, but they were thinking about it for a second, and
well,
that's a pretty tough to go for it there on your own 38, but at this point in the season, maybe you say, what do you have to lose?
They're going for it. They're lined up in the full house backfield. Now they're going to shift into the punt as Lex Bodecker will go down and punt. 3 seconds on the play clock, 2, and they're not going to get it off. They're not going to get it off. Seriously.
Wow.
Are you kidding me? Dylan Troglin on the catch, on the return. He's to the 40, to the 50, to the 40. He's to the Bath 30, the 25. He's got one man to beat. He misses him, and Dylan Troglin takes it to the house.
A lot of things to talk about on that one, Joe. So the officials waited probably 2 or 3 seconds after what should have been a delay of game. That never called it. And Rough Riders say, okay, no big deal.
We'll just take it to the house.
Yeah.
So 2 punts for the Bath Wildcats. Both went to the end zone. One was called back due to penalty. Dylan Troglin's will stand. And the Rough Riders lead on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard 12-0.
Well, this time it looks like be a called 2-point conversion, so they're going to go for it.
Kurt Bupp has the play from head coach Doug Fry. Hinkle, Howell, and Wedding behind Kurt Bupp. He's going to pass it. Oh, and it's knocked down. Good defensive play there by the Bath defender. And the point after touchdown is no good. So with 1:30 remaining in the first quarter, it's the St. Mary's Rough Riders 12, the Bath Wildcats nothing on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. We'll take a quick break. We'll come right back right after this.
TSC is an independent telephone company that has been serving Wapakoneta, Cridersville, and surrounding areas with phone service since 1895. In 2003, we made history by expanding all of our offerings into the city of St. Mary's. We are dedicated to bringing our customers state-of-the-art technology and services with a hometown flair for individual customer care. Active members of local organizations such as the St. Mary's Area Chamber of Commerce, TSC stands by the communities that it serves. We encourage you to stop in and see us at 155 East High Street in St. Mary's and check out the products and services TSC can provide. All Glaze Equipment Rental is your source for all of your equipment needs. Whether you're a contractor or a homeowner with a project, we can help you get the job done more efficiently. Check us out at 1900 Salina Road in St. Mary's or allglazeequipmentrental.com or give us a call, 419-394-7883. All Glaze Equipment Rental. Stop in and see them today.
This kickoff is being brought to you by your State Farm agent, Laura Yelton. Be a legend. Ensure your life.
Return for the Wildcats by number 19, Zach Simpson.
Zach Simpson returns the kickoff for the Bath Wildcats, and Carson Fishbach runs him out of bounds at about the, we're going to call it about the 37-yard line.
The other thing I like about that punt return, Joe, is you could tell they were trying to kick the ball away from Ty Howe. So they kick it to Troglin, and he says, I'll take it in anyway as well.
Now let's figure that out, who we're going to kick away from next time.
Right.
Well, the Bath Wildcats will have the football 1st and 10 at their own 37-yard line. 1:23 remaining. Play clock is running. McDermott drops out of the shotgun, and it's picked off by Ty Howe. Howe's to the 30, to the 25. There's one man to beat. He's behind blockers. Touchdown, Riders.
And he returns it for a Rough Rider touchdown.
Well, that was one of those passes that I talked about in the pregame that I saw a lot that he was throwing against Walpock last week. When he wants to try to take it deep there, just doesn't have a lot of accuracy and puts up a lot of opportunities for an interception.
Well, Ty Howell says if I can't take the punt into the end zone and count, I'll take the interception into the house. And he did that, and it's 18-0 with 1:12 remaining.
Good.
Point after Brandon Bowers will attempt the point after. Kurt Buff will hold. Kick is up, and the kick is no good. So the Roughriders are 0-3 in the point after department, and I'm sure that cannot make head coach Doug Fry happy at all. So we're going to take a break with the score on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. The Roughriders 19, the Bath Wildcats nothing with 1:12 remaining. We'll come back right after this. Guarneri's on Spring Street, home of the signature Big Ralph Sub, Pizza, and Calzone. Come try our thirst-quenching Rider Aid before, during, and after the game. Stop in after the game and meet your friends. It's Guarneri's. Give them a call at 419-394-2244.
Varsity Lanes in St. Mary's, home of the Roughriders 2018-2019 Boys and Girls State Bowling Champions. Strike up delicious food, 32 taps, Queen of Hearts, and nightly food and drink specials, as well as a great family atmosphere. Also remember that carryouts are available. Stop in and see us after the game. Go Roughriders.
Already back at Grand Lake Health Systems Field, the Roughriders lead 18-0 on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. This kickoff is being brought to you by your State Farm agent, Lori Yelton. Be a legend, ensure your life. Kickoff is taken by Zach Simpson. Simpson to the 25, and he is brought down by the Roughriders special teams unit.
It looked like Ross Henshin getting in there. Number 11 maybe, Braden Himmelgarn.
Ross Henshin's in, number 20.
And it looks like number 36 was in that tackle too, Dylan Giesige. You know, great players like Ty Howell, you always say they find a way to score during the game. And, you know, whether it was a kick return on offense as running back or there as defense interception return for a touchdown, great players like Ty Howell are going to find a way to get in the end zone.
Dallin McDermott. Good run by the Bath running back. I believe that's Troy Johnson.
By number 26, Carter.
No, I'm sorry. That's Carter Partapiano.
I tell you what, Trace Mabry is going to hate watching that play on film. He was in the backfield, 5 yards back, met the ball carrier right as he got the ball, and just had his head down or wasn't able to get wrap the running back up. Running back popped out of that tackle and ran it for 8 yards.
Good run by the sophomore, Carter Pagliano. So it'll be 2nd down and 2 for the Bath Wildcats at their own 34-yard line. Trey Johnson, the ball carrier, but there's a flag on the play before the play started.
False start on the Bath Wildcats.
Yeah, one of the running backs was going into motion and wasn't going horizontal motion, was going vertical, and they hiked it while he was running. You can do that in the Canadian Football League, but
That's right.
not here.
That's right. So we're down to 6 seconds, and that's going to end the first quarter here at Grand Lake Health Systems Field. That's the end of the first quarter with the score on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. It's the St. Mary's Roughriders 18, the Bath Wildcats nothing. We'll take a break. We'll come back right after this.
Please direct your attention to
Unique Awards and Signs, here to take care of your signage, graphic, awards, and gift customization needs. From banners for your graduation or corporate sponsors to awards recognizing those dedicated employees or champion sports teams. Stop in at 1865 Salina Road and see how we can help you with your customer needs, or give us a call, 419-394-1612. Vogel's Bake Shop, making thousands of donuts daily. Open 7 days a week with stores in St. Mary's, Salina, and Wapak. Also found in Wagner IGA stores in New Bremen, Minster, and Fort Laramie. Fellowship of Christian Athletes. The Fellowship of Christian Athletes is a middle school and high school club looking to spread God's love throughout numerous schools and communities in our local area. FCA's favorite play of the game is when both teams come together at the end of the game to pray. FCA, making a difference in the lives of our student athletes. God bless you, sports fans.
Scott Steinecker. Thank you, Scott.
Back at Grand Lake Health Systems Field, where the Roughriders lead 18-0 on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. And, of course, normally on our regular broadcast, our audio and video portions of the Roughrider broadcast, we do the Big Ralph Radio highlight. And, of course, because we don't have the equipment this week to do that, so it'll be back next week and between the second and third quarter. And we also want to remind everybody we will be on the road with these Roughriders next week over in Salina as they take out the ball. They take on the Bulldogs.
I'm really looking forward to the next week's game, Joe. Always a intense game against Salina. No matter what the records are, throw them out because teams are going to be hitting hard. Some of the just absolute biggest games in Rough Rider history. I'm thinking back to my junior year of high school when Nick Yale hit a 52-yard field goal at Salina at that field. So historical field and always a historical game between St. Mary's and Salina.
The Rough Riders stopping short.
Dallin McDermott on a 3rd and about 2 ran a quarterback sneak, and he comes up short. He's about a yard short, so that's going to be 4th and about 1.
Well, they're on their own 35, but I don't think if you're Bath that you can risk punting it to St. Mary's anymore. I mean, if you send your punting team out, you're saying punt it out of bounds or something, you know?
Yeah. So maybe that's what they're thinking. And, of course, they may go to the line of scrimmage in hopes of drawing the Rough Riders offside. So the Rough Riders defensive line has to be disciplined and stay at home. Oh, and that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. Lucas Walters jumped. Blake Kennord jumped, and it'll give the Bath Wildcats a first down.
Yeah, that's another one that's not going to be fun in film. You know, 4th and short that you got to be looking for a long count. Just got to be a little smarter than that. Like to see the aggressiveness, but got to be ready for that. They're always trying to get you to jump when it's 4th and short there.
Well, I see the boss has checked in with us. He says, hey, from Farmington, Connecticut.
There we go.
That's where the Spencers are at this weekend for a wedding. And we want to congratulate Rich Spencer's son, Zach, I believe.
Alex.
Alex is getting married this weekend in Connecticut. So it'll be 1st down and 10 for the Bath Wildcats. And what are they marching this off again for? They already jumped. That's a 5-yard penalty.
Rough Riders were also called for unsportsmanlike conduct.
There we go.
Must have been a comment to the officials or something. Or
somebody said something that one of the men in the striped shirts did not like.
15 yards, yep.
Yeah. So Dallin McDermott will be under center for the Bath Wildcats. 1st and 10 at the St. Mary's 46-yard line. He passes out to number 22, Trey Johnson. Falls incomplete. So it'll bring up 2nd down and 10.
2nd down and 10 for the Bath Wildcats.
Well, so far, Bath hasn't really been able to put together a real first down. Everything's pretty much been St. Mary's helping them with some penalties, and can't let a team like this stay in the game at all. You're up 18-0, but don't want to give them any hope here. You want to keep the pressure on them.
I believe is this the first time Bath's been in St. Mary's territory in the ball game?
I believe so.
Run by number 26, Carter Partapolano.
Carter Partapolano.
Most of the Rough Riders.
I'll say his name 30 times tonight, and I'll say it different every single time. I say Partapolano, but he's also got an L in there too, which I didn't. Partapolano.
Partapolano. Okay.
Well, he gained about 4 on the play. It's going to be 3rd down and 6, but we've got a timeout on the field.
No flags down. No called timeout. Not sure what's going on here. Their officials are on the other side talking to the Bath head coach.
Bath will. Nope. There's still no charge timeout.
Joe just got another text. The Velascos and St. Mary's are listening to us in Naples, Florida.
Really?
Yep.
Also, check out roughridersports.net for your Rough Riders news and sports updates.
Also, Crystal Longsworth is listening to us in North Lewisburg, Ohio. So we're glad you joined us this evening on Rider Nation Station on our bonus broadcast of the year. So we've got a penalty call on the Bath Wildcats, and they're going to move it back to the St. Mary's 48-yard line, where it'll be third down and about 12 for the Bath Wildcats.
Third down and 12, and another money down.
It's going to wear off on me, Joan. I'm going to have to start calling it a money down here.
McDermott in the shotgun for the Bath Wildcats. Here comes Tanner Howe on the blitz. The pass over the middle is over the head of the intended receiver.
Pass by number 2, intended for
Number 5, it's Blaine Albright. So it'll be fourth down and 11 for the Bath Wildcats. They're at the St. Mary's 47-yard line.
Not a real accurate pass, and Carson Fishball almost made him pay for it. He jumped about 2 or 3 feet in the air and got some fingers on it, but couldn't come down with it.
So back to receive this punt again is Ty Howe and Dylan Troglin. They'll be standing at their own 12-yard line. Lex Bodecker will do the punting for the Bath Wildcats. He'll be standing at the 39-yard line. There's the snap. And here's the punt. And it's off the side of his foot, so everybody needs to clear out. It gets a Bath roll. It'll go inside the 15, down to about the 12, to the 10, where it'll be down by the Bath Wildcats. Trey Johnson will stop it for the Bath Wildcats, and the Rough Riders will have the ball first and 10 at their own 10-yard line. 9:28 remaining here in the first half. 18-0 on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard.
Well, that ball was down on the 10-yard line, and somehow, Joe, the officials have set it all the way back at the 8.5-yard line.
Handoff goes to, I believe,
handoff to number 12, Ty Howe.
Ty Howe.
Number 12.
Tackled by the Bath Wildcats on the line of scrimmage.
Picks up a short gain.
Second and 10.
It'll be second down, no gain rather. It'll be second down and 10. Good defense there by the Bath Wildcats up front. Carter Butler, Canyon Poling, and Colin Hain.
Well, Bath figured out how to punt to us, which is just kick it about 20 yards short so that they can't return it. Yep, and let it roll.
Aiden Hingle on the carry. And he'll get no gain, so it'll bring up third down and 10. So the Rough Riders first and second downs.
The MHS Alumni Foundation for feeding the Rough Rider football team tonight.
Got them 0 yards, so it'll be third down and 10, 8:26 remaining.
And staff for the delicious desserts. Proud to be a Rider.
Yeah, it looks like Bath's defense has kind of settled down here a little bit and really stepped up on a lot of these runs. Pretty much shut down a lot of the sweeps and the dives, and trap really hasn't worked all night up the middle.
Kurt Bupp's going to throw the football. He lets one fly to Carson Fishbach, and we got a flag on the play. It's going to be pass interference. And it's be called on Wyatt Malley of Bath. So we're going to get a pass interference call on the Bath Wildcats. This should this should give the Rough Riders a first down.
Yeah, it wasn't bad defense to start, but the ball was a little bit underthrown, and Carson Fishpaw looked back for it. And as he was trying to work back to the ball, the defensive back there didn't turn around and look for the ball, just kept going straight. And you're going to get called for that every time if you're going to keep your head forward and not turn around and look for the ball.
So the Rough Riders pick up a first down via a Bath pass interference penalty. 7:59 remaining, 18-0 on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. Carson Fishbach will go wide left. Handoff will go inside. I believe it was, well, we'll check and see who the runner is. I think it was Fraley.
Stopped at the line by SLU Wildcats.
So again, the Rough Riders stopped on first down for no gain.
Yeah, number 65 and 56, Poling and Bowen in the middle there, just really disrupting a lot of the inside running game for the Rough Riders tonight.
Fishbach will go wide left. Turn, give the ball to Ty Howe on the sweep to the left. He'll stop and cut back, and he's thrown for a loss. Good defense by Carter Parlapiano.
Behind the line by number 26, Carter Parlapiano.
Well, the Rough Riders tried to sweep out there to the left. That's usually a 29 or a 39. And Ty Howe had a guard out there in front of him, but Ty Howe's a little bit faster than that guard, and he looks like he outran him before the guard could really put a helmet on Parlapiano.
Third down and 11. Bupp on a screen pass. He'll give it to Hinkle. He's got blockers out front. He's to the 30, to the 40, and he is tackled at about the 44-yard line. So a good play there by the Rough Riders. Excellent job by their offensive line setting up the screenplay.
Yeah, really, really good job by the offensive line that were out there in front of them. Saw a couple pancake blocks there. Got a nice 20-yard gain right there.
Mm-hmm. It'll be first down and 10. The ball will be at the Rough Rider 43-yard line. Clock at 6:19 and running. Wedding sweeps to the right. He's got a block. It's to the 50 and into Bath territory where he is run out of bounds at the Bath 48-yard line.
Tackled by the Bath Wildcats for a gain of about 9.
He's got a lot of speed when he takes it out there to the outside. There were some Bath guys that looked like they were in position, and they just weren't able to keep up with them. He turned the corner on them, and they like to run that sweep with him to the wide side of the field so he can use that speed like that.
6-7. Austin Parks will be wide to the left. Straight dive up the middle by Wedding. It'll be a first down for St. Mary's. They'll move the chains. It'll be first down and 10 for St. Mary's at the Bath 45-yard line. 5:30 remaining here in the first half on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. Joe Hurlbert alongside Zach Farrell. Glad to have you along. Those that are joining us via Rider Nation Station. Parks will go wide left. Split backfield behind Kurt Bupp. Long count, turn, quick pitch. It goes to Hinkle. Hinkle busts through to the 35-yard line. Good gain by the freshman.
Tackled there by number 35, Dylan Earl.
It'll be another Rough Rider first down as the ball is placed at the Bath Wildcat 35-yard line. Good blocking out front by the O-line.
Yeah, that was a whole new gear there for Aiden Hinkle. Put on a little speed towards the outside.
Hunter Fraley with the carry this time off the right side of the line, giving a gain of about 3 yards on the play. We'll call it second down and 7. Just good, hard-nosed running.
Yeah, those same defensive linemen that we gave credit to a little while ago seem to be getting a little tired out there. They're not coming off the ball as much. St. Mary's is keeping the pressure up and getting a little bit more of a push from the offensive line now.
Up front, the Bath Wildcats start 2 juniors and 2 sophomores, so they're very young up front. Wide to the right is Parks. Turn, give the ball to, and the ball is kicked. The ball is on the ground, and it is picked up by the Bath Wildcats.
Fumble on the play, recovered by the Bath Wildcats.
Number 19, Zach Simpson. So a turnover will give the ball back to the Bath Wildcats as the Roughriders finally got things moving offensively.
Junior parents are selling Vogels glazed donuts tonight.
Yeah, it didn't look, it wasn't caused by the defense or anything. It was just seemed like it was bobbled from the handoff and then dropped and kicked.
It almost looked to me that Ty Howell reached for the football with his hands instead of allowing Kurt Buff to just put it in his stomach. I think he reached for it, knocked the ball out of his hands, and the ball was loose. Good job by Zach Simpson for the Bath Wildcats. Bath will have the football 1st and 10 at their own 32-yard line with 4:01 remaining here in the first half on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. Dallin McDermott is your Wildcat quarterback, and they want timeout before they start this play. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll have more from Grand Lake Health Systems Field as the St. Mary's Roughriders lead the Bath Wildcats 18-0 on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. We'll be right back right after this.
TSC is an independent telephone company that has been serving Wapakoneta, Cridersville, and surrounding areas with phone service since 1895. In 2003, we made history by expanding all of our offerings into the city of St. Mary's. We are dedicated to bringing our customers state-of-the-art technology and services with a hometown flair for individual customer care. Active members of local organizations, such as the St. Mary's Area Chamber of Commerce, TSC stands by the communities that it serves. We encourage you to stop in and see us at 155 East High Street in St. Mary's and check out the products and services TSC can provide. All Glaze Equipment Rental is your source for all of your equipment needs. Whether you're a contractor or a homeowner with a project, we can help you get the job done. Check us out at 1900 Salina Road in St. Mary's or allglazeequipmentrental.com, or just give us a call, 419-394-7883. All Glaze Equipment Rental. Stop in and see them today.
Back to action. 1st and 10 for the Bath Wildcats. Dallin McDermott under center. He'll step back and he'll throw. He's being pressured. He's going to launch one downfield. He's got a receiver there, and Fishbach is there. Oh, and it's taken away. Simpson took it away right from Carson Fishbach, and he's down to the 5-yard line.
Wow. Carson Fishbach looked like he was in real good position there on Simpson and went up. They both kind of went up at the same time. It looked like Carson Fishbach had his hands on the ball, and Simpson just grabbed it away from him. I know that Bath looks for a lot of those deep balls like that, and that was kind of the first one of the night that was actually kind of put on an accurate path. Unfortunately, Fishbach just had it taken away from him. Otherwise, it would have been a nice interception. So here we are with Bath putting their first pressure on St. Mary's here at the 6-yard line.
1st and goal at the 6-yard line for the Bath Wildcats. McDermott in the shotgun. He'll give it to Trey Johnson up the middle, and he'll gain about 3 yards. And they'll get it down to about the 3-yard line, 2-yard line.
Number 10, Trey Fisher.
So it'll be 2nd down and 2 from the St. Mary's, 2nd down and goal from the St. Mary's 2-yard line. I look for nothing fancy here by the Bath Wildcats. Johnson again, right up the middle, and he's going to be short. Good defensive stand by the Rough Rider defense.
Yeah, it looked like for a second there was nobody stopping him into the end zone. He went a little bit, looked like he's going a little bit airborne there, maybe trying to dive over, but Rough Rider defense stepped right up.
Good job by Hunter Foltz. He met Johnson in the hole.
Money down!
And it'll be 3rd and goal at the St. Mary's 1-yard line. The Bath Wildcats obviously in 2-down territory as they trail 18-0 on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. Wildcats break the huddle. McDermott under center. And it'll go to Trey Johnson, I believe. We're waiting for a signal. The officials say that he's short.
Wow. It looked to me like he dove 2 feet into the end zone. I hate to say it.
Now, apparently they're going to call him
Wow.
down where his knees hit the ground.
Okay.
So he's really about a foot away from the goal
They're
line.
closer to the field than we are. So this is easily the biggest down of the game for the St. Mary's defense and Bath offense here.
Absolutely.
4th and 1 from about the 2-inch line. 4th and goal.
I wouldn't be surprised if McDermott just takes it right up the middle on a sneak. And he does, and he's into the end zone, I believe. Touchdown for the Bath Wildcats. Trey McDermott from about a foot, but I think they're going to call it about a yard. So Dallin McDermott puts the Bath Wildcats on the scoreboard. 18-6. Riders still lead on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard with 1:04 remaining here in the first half.
Well, you can't let one big play like that bring you down as a defense. They've done a pretty good job on defense tonight. St. Mary's Roughriders have, but that's a big play that they gave away. But it was, I don't want to say fluke, but it was just a athlete going up and taking it away from the defender.
Keaton Lyles will do the point after for the Bath Wildcats, and it is good. So with 1:04 remaining here in the first half on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard, it's the St. Mary's Roughriders 18, the Bath Wildcats 7. Zach will keep it right here. Unfortunately for the Roughriders, the turnover. The fumble by Ty Howell allowed 7 points for the Bath Wildcats. But nonetheless, Rough Rider offense is playing well. The one miscue, it doesn't make or break them. They played extremely well here in the first half, and more so the special teams.
Right, yeah. You haven't had to rely on your offense too much when your special teams are able to bring the ball back and score like that, and the defense scores for you. But also the special teams, when they haven't scored, have given them a very, very short field. 20, 30 yards to score a touchdown isn't too hard with this offense against this defense. So be interesting to see what the stats look like here at the halftime. Probably won't be too many yards really for St. Mary's on offense, because most of that's been done on the special teams and defense.
This kickoff return is being brought to you by your State Farm agent, Laura Yelton. Be a legend, ensure your life. And in case you haven't heard, the Rough Riders did pick up a first-game opponent next year to start the 2020 season. It'll be Thurgood Marshall, team out of the Dayton area who used to be D3, but now this year moved down to D4. Not having a particularly good year. I think they're 2-5 coming into tonight's contest, but nonetheless, the Rough Riders will play at home next year here, and then the following year they will go down and play Thurgood Marshall at Welcome Stadium in Dayton. So that's always a neat atmosphere when you get an opportunity to go down and play on a college field.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. The Welcome Stadium down there is a neat facility, and I think it's good that the football team has an opportunity to start planning for that. Not that you're looking that far forward, but I'm sure Coach Fry now can at least start to think about that in the back of his head, where it's really just been kind of like, who are we going to play? Is it going to be Versailles? Is it going to be Marion Local? Is it going to be a team from Michigan, a team from Indiana?
Absolutely.
There was a lot of possibilities thrown out there. So at least you have an opponent now that you can start planning for. Their league, we played Belmont a couple years ago in the playoffs, so that's they're in their league. Thurgood Marshall made the playoffs in 2013, so they're not a perennial great team, but they're also not a perennial bad team. They can have ups and downs. So really exciting to see how that series, maybe some new traditions turn out.
There's a short kick by the Bath Wildcats, picked up by Carson Fishbach, and he's got room. He's going back up the middle, and he makes it into Bath territory. The ball loose on the field. But I think the ground caused the fumble, and the whistle had blown, so the Rough Riders will retain possession. So what they did that time is they kicked away from Troglin, Howell, and also back there to receive the kick was Braden Hemmelgarn. So they kicked a short one this time.
Yeah, but I like what Coach Fry did. If you notice before they went out there, Coach Fry took some of those up back guys that are normally the bigger linemen, and he put Carson Fishball and he put some of the skill guys in there so that he knew if they were kicking short, we're still going to have a good opportunity to return it.
Ethan Wedding on the sweep to the right. He's to the 45-yard line. Where he's run out of bounds. The clock will continue to run. We're down to 46 seconds.
No timeout called. They need to think about
No huddle.
running a play quick.
No huddle offense. Kurt Bupp in the shotgun. Carter Fischbach wide to the left. He goes back, two-step drop. He's looking deep. And he throws it over to Knorr. It's over his head. And the clock will stop with 26.7 seconds remaining.
I tell you, Kurt Buff could have waited a second or two more longer. Troglin on the other side of the field had just broken away from his guy. It was kind of tough though because Buff had some defenders in his face and they're really pressuring him. And now there's a flag I see.
Well, apparently the Roughriders are going to move back. So the penalty is on the Roughriders. It's a 10-yard penalty.
Yeah, it looks like holding in the backfield.
So penalties really have been the bugaboo of the Rough Rider offense, as well as the fumble. Clock will not start until the ball is snapped. Kyle Bupp, Dylan Troglin enter the huddle. Austin Parks will be wide to the left.
Second and 22 yards.
Under center, and he's going to roll to the left. He stops, looks back. He's got Troglin. He overthrows him. I'll tell you what, he connects on that one, and if Troglin can get by one defender, it's nothing but end zone in front of him.
Yeah, that was one of those throwback passes. So you have the running back kind of motion out to the right. You roll to the left like you're going to kind of throw a flood pattern to the left there, and then you kind of look back over your shoulder and throw it back to that running back. And he had the total field except for one defender.
Yep.
If he could have caught that.
21 seconds remaining. Parks wide to the left. Howell in the wing to the right. But straight drop back, throw it to Park, the hook and ladder, and he's got it to Troglin. And Troglin has run out of bounds at about the Bath 39-yard line. So the pass went to Parks. Parks ladder pitched it back to Troglin, and the hook and ladder works again for the Rough Riders. This time it results in a big gain, just short of the first down. We'll call it fourth down and about 3.
Great job there by Austin Parks. He was being tackled as he lateraled that backwards to Troglin. A little bit risky of a play because you hate to see a defender pick that up and get any kind of points off of that, but like the play call and like the aggressiveness.
13 seconds remaining. Bupp goes back to pass, sets in the pocket.
That's face mask.
He eludes the rush, and he gets it out to Fischbach, I believe. Out to Troglin. Good job by Troglin.
I tell you, you heard me say it. It looked like a face mask there.
Oh my gosh!
But nothing was called.
Good job by Kurt Bupp getting away from the rush. And we're going to keep it right here with 3.8 seconds remaining. So we'll see what the Rough Riders have in the bag with 3 seconds remaining in the first half. Rough Riders lead 18-7. And in all honesty, this has been a first half that has been dominated by the Rough Riders. But of course, penalties and a fumble have cost them.
Yeah, you when we think back, you really think that the Riders should be up way more than 18-7 right now.
And I believe 3 extra points.
Right, you had a
that has been missed.
Fake extra point that for the 2-point try that was not converted. And then you had a going for it for the 2-point conversion, and then you had a missed field goal. So 3 points there that should be there.
Well, let's go. We got the lonesome polecat. We got Bath calling a timeout. Bass says, well, we better huddle up. Our defense hasn't seen this one, so we're gonna talk it over a little bit.
I tell you what, that was a little bit of a different form of the Lonesome Polecat, because you had so typically in the Lonesome Polecat, you have one of your skills players snapping the ball back to your quarterback by himself, and he's eligible, so he can run down the field through a pass. That time you had number 6 Ethan Wedding snapping it, but you also had 2 linemen next to him. You do that usually to buy yourself a little bit more time, so that the quarterback can let the receivers get down the field, set up a kind of a Hail Mary type of situation there.
And over here on the left side of the field, they had 4 linemen in front of Ty Howell, who was behind them by about 3 or 4 yards. So obviously my thinking is the pass was going to go to Howell, and then he's got 4 guys in front of him that could escort him to the end zone if it all worked out as planned.
Yeah, it's always set up there in case you want to run it like that.
So the Rough Riders will have the football with 3.8 seconds remaining. They have the lead as well, 18-7. Kurt Bupp under center, 1st and 10 for the Rough Riders. And Dylan Troglin is going to throw the football, and there should be pass interference there as well. So we're going to have another play as the clock shows zeros on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard.
Yeah, so St. Mary's, after coming out in that polecat formation, came back out in just a traditional wing T formation there, handed the ball off to Ty Howe, who took it in the backfield and did a halfback pass.
Dylan Troglin eventually threw it. And, of course, keep in mind, Dylan Troglin also has played a little bit of quarterback.
Right.
So I think what we're going to see here is Brandon Bowers runs onto the field. I think we're going to see a field goal attempt.
Yeah, so you had a pass interference call. They got 15 more yards. Now they're able to take a field goal attempt from the 23-yard line.
And keep in mind, Brandon Bowers is also your kickoff kicker as well. So he's got some leg.
I saw him before the game started making these field goals from this yard line. Of course, that was without pads and a helmet, so it's always a little bit easier.
The ball will be placed at the 30-yard line. This will be a 40-yard field goal attempt by Braden Bowers. Kurt Bupp will hold. There's the snap. Ball is placed down. He's got distance, and it is good. A 40-yard field goal by Brandon Bowers gives the Rough Riders a 21-7 lead on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard as time runs off the clock. Both teams are headed to the locker rooms. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back with our halftime right after this.
Hewer Renovating. If you are looking to renovate your home, former Rough Rider football standout Craig Hewer is your go-to man. Hewer Renovating is an all-phase residential specialist with over 40 years experience and an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Improve your investment by calling Hewer Renovating, 419-394-8643.
Well, Mark Huber should be joining me here in just a little bit, and we're going to talk about and recap the first half, where it's been really dominated by the Rough Riders, and it really should be more than a 21-7 score on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. Of course, the Rough Riders missed 3 PATs on their first 3 scores. They had a punt return called back, and they had a fumble in the first half. So really not as clean as I think Coach Fry would have liked it, but nonetheless, they lead 21-7 on the McDonald's restaurant scoreboard.
Yeah, they were able to get those 3 points back, fortunately, there at the end of the game. Took advantage of Bath, with that pass interference, taking advantage of Bath's own penalties there to at least get those 3 points back. So you like to see that little bit of momentum going into the halftime, but you definitely want to put together a cleaner game for the second half.
Absolutely. Joining me now is Mark Huber, as he does each and every broadcast, joins me at halftime, and we kind of discuss a little bit of the play of the first half. Rough Riders lead, Mark, on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard 21-7. They played well, but I think Coach Fry thinks his offense can play better. They had some miscues. They missed PATs, so he's going to have a little chat with them at halftime.
Yeah, I would agree. It was a sloppy offense for us. I really had a hard time getting things going. it definitely not the way Coach Fry wants things, especially after last week having such a great game. That's what we talked about last week. Was we were afraid after the Kenton win, we would see something like this, and surely he's going to work on this at halftime and try to shore things up and get things straightened out.
Well, penalties were a big factor as far as the momentum of the Rough Rider offense. They dropped the fumble. As I said, they missed 3-point after touchdowns. And I'm not so sure the 1-point after touchdown that they went for 2. Was it? You think that was by design, or did they bobble the snap?
I thought it was by design.
By design.
He got up pretty quick, and the whoever was out, to catch it, he was out there pretty quick. So it looked to me like it was by design.
Defensively, the Rough Riders are playing well. They almost had a defensive stand here, and it was late in the first half, but they were able to score on a Dallin McDermott quarterback sneak. But all in all, defense played well, putting a lot of pressure on the quarterback, except the one pass where, really, in all honesty, it was just a good job by the receiver.
Yeah, it was good defense. It was a great catch on his part. Otherwise, the defense is playing solid, really good, making up for all the miscues by the offense.
So we'll see what happens in the second half for the Rough Riders. So what do you expect them in the second half to do?
Well, I expect them to Coach Fry to get the offensive line to get off the ball. It's the offensive line looks like they're really slow moving. And up front, especially running the dives and the trap has not been there. And the O-line's just not getting to where they need to be, and I think he's going to try to correct that right away.
All righty, Mark, we want to thank you again for stopping by, giving your perspective on the first half action for the Rough Riders. And again, the Rough Riders lead by a score of 21-7 on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. I'm sure a lot of people in the stadium think it could be a little bit better than that. Of course, 6 points better probably for the missed extra points that they missed, or 5 for sure. So we'll take a break. We're going to come back, and Zach will have the stats for us here from the first half. We'll do that and more right after this. Hewer Renovating is an all-phase residential specialist with over 40 years experience and an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If you're looking to renovate your home, former Rough Rider football standout Craig Hewer is your go-to man. Improve your investment by giving Hewer Renovating a call at 419-394-8643. Back at Grand Lake Health Systems Field at the Rough Rider Athletic Complex on Rider Nation Station. I'm Joe Hurlbert alongside Zach Farrell. Zach, probably, Mark and I talked about it. It wasn't really a clean first half for the Rough Riders. They had penalties that cost them big, fumble that cost them 6 points. And so, but nonetheless, the defense played well. Of course, you can't take anything away from the catch that Simpson did over Fishbach. I mean, it was just they both went up for the football. It was great defense by Carson. He had excellent position, but the receiver just went up over him and got the football, and that led to a Bath touchdown. So let's take a look at the first half statistics.
Yeah, so pretty interesting here. First down, St. Mary's 8, Bath 4. Total yards, though, St. Mary's 106, Bath 108. So you have a 21-7, and the team with 21 points only has 106 total yards. Just shows you how much the special teams and the defense helped a lot there with those touchdowns. St. Mary's on passing was 5 attempts, 3 completions. Bath on passing was 10 attempts, 4 completions, and that one very pivotal interception returned by Ty Howe. Passing yards, St. Mary's had 43 net yards. Bath had 78. Really, I think St. Mary's, I'm trying to think, couple screen passes, and then the hook and ladder was the biggest part of that 43 yards. And Bath, 78 yards there. I think maybe 40, 50 yards of that is that long pass to Simpson there. So just a couple big plays really offensively for both of these teams. Not a lot with St. Mary's special teams and defense stepping up the way they have. Rushing for St. Mary's, 20 attempts for 63 yards. Bath, 10 attempts for 30 yards. Of course, St. Mary's had 1 fumble that was lost. Bath has yet to have a fumble. Penalties, this has been pretty big for both teams. St. Mary's has had 5 penalties for 59 yards. Bath has had 5 penalties for 45 yards. Both teams want to clean that up, and not a good trend for St. Mary's, as we've talked about that over the past few weeks. We've kind of averaged 40, 50 yards in penalties every single game, and it's okay if you play a team like Kenton that puts 100 penalty yards on the stats, but when you're playing some of these close games against Salina or Defiance maybe, or if this game here gets close, you're going to look back at something like 59 penalty yards and say we had a big opportunity there that we could have cleaned things up and given ourselves a lot better chances. And we've seen that on the field tonight. Offenses not really been stopped too much by Bath. Bath has had a couple of occurrences there where they've kind of stepped up for 2 or 3 downs, but really St. Mary's has been moving the ball and then kind of shooting themselves in the foot with penalties coming back. 3rd down conversion, St. Mary's is 3 for 5, and Bath is 0 for 5. Just not a lot of productivity on the Bath offense besides that long pass. Punts for St. Mary's, they've got 1 for 21 yards. And for Bath, they've had 3 punts for 109 yards. Their punter is everything they advertise. He's putting some good balls up there. But one of the things I think at the high school level that gets overlooked sometimes is if you've got a team like St. Mary's that can really return balls well, is if you've got a punter that can punt that well, he's putting the ball so far down the field that a lot of the times the Bath defenders are not able to get close to the St. Mary's running backs. Really gives an advantage to a team like St. Mary's that has the returners that can put the speed on and start to make some moves and pick their lanes that they want to get down the field with. The average drive start for St. Mary's and Bath, we talked about this early. For St. Mary's, their average drive start is the 46.4 yard line. So they're almost starting every drive on average at the 50-yard line. That's pretty incredible. For Bath, their average drive is their 28.6 yard line. So big advantage there by St. Mary's, and that's mainly because of the turnovers and the kick returns. Time of possession is pretty even. St. Mary's 12 minutes 11 seconds, Bath 11 minutes 49 seconds. So looking at these stats, the teams look like they'd be a lot closer. You're really seeing the special teams and defense of St. Mary's really the edge right now tonight. Haven't had to rely on their offense as much. Just wanted to look at some of maybe the individual stats then too. For St. Mary's, some of the leaders: Aiden Hinkle, 5 rushes for 20 yards. His longest is 10 yards, averaging 4 yards per rush. Ethan Wedding, 4 rushes for 19 yards. His longest 9 yards, averaging 4.8 yards per rush. Ty Howe, 4 rushes for 12 yards. His long was 11 yards, and his average is 3 yards per rush. Kurt Bupp, 3 rushes for 8 yards, his longest being 5 yards, and he did have that 1 touchdown off of that QB sneak. He's averaging 2.7 yards. Aiden Hinkle, for receiving for the Roughriders, has 1 reception for 20 yards on that screen pass. Dylan Troglin has 1 catch for 18 yards. That was on the hook and ladder there. And then Austin Park had also had a catch on that hook and ladder. He got 5 yards. That's just the way the statistics work on that. I was just talking while we're talking about that hook and ladder. I was talking to Dave Weilbacher, who filled in for me on one of the rules of the game. And the subject that he brought up in that was that on those hook and ladder plays, what's interesting is if you can have the receiver that catches the ball there 5 or 10 yards down the field that then laterals it. If that receiver catches the ball with his feet in the air and they never touch the ground, if he just tips it backwards or he throws it backwards before his feet touch the ground, that's technically not a catch. So if he would fumble, if he would pass it back and just tip it back, it would be an incomplete pass. We looked at the St. Mary's OG game. Our Dave and Mark looked at the St. Mary's OG game, and were able to see that one of the hook and ladders, the receiver was in the air, and they called it a fumble, but it actually shouldn't have been. It should have been an incomplete pass, but that's very tough to see for the officials on the field. I'm interested to see in our replay this week on the rules of the game if we're able to see whether his feet were touching the ground there or not. Fortunately, he didn't fumble it anyway. Had a great lateral to Troglin, and so didn't really make a difference there. But that's an interesting quirk about that. It really takes some of the risk out of that if you're able to say, oh, if they drop it, it's going to be an incomplete pass anyway instead of a fumble. Looking at some of the Bath stat leaders, Dallin McDermott has 4 completions on 10 attempts for 78 yards. His longest was actually 62 yards, so that was how long that pass was to Simpson. Has 1 interception. On rushing for Bath, you have Carter Parlop, 4 rushes for 21 yards. Kind of expected him to get a little bit more rushes than that. He's a pretty big running back, and I saw him do pretty well against Walpock on the film last week. So a lot of credit has to go to the interior of the St. Mary's defensive line. They're really shutting him down tonight. Trey Johnson has 4 rushes for only 7 yards. Dallin McDermott has 2 rushes for 2 yards. But he did have that touchdown there on that QB sneak. Receiving for Bath, Zach Simpson, 3 catches, thrown to only 3 times. So you're looking to see if maybe Dallin McDermott maybe tries to call his number a little bit more, tries to get the ball over to Zach Simpson a little more. And his longest catch was that 62-yarder. Carter Parlapiano, 1 catch on 1 attempt for 4 yards. And then Blaine Albright's been thrown to 3 times, but hasn't had any catches on those attempted passes over to him. So that's what the stats are looking tonight, Joe. Not a lot of flashy stats, but of course, be interested to see what the all-purpose yards look like at the end of the game.
Absolutely.
For Ty Howe on those on that interception and some of the returns tonight by Howe and Troglin.
Just 106 yards rushing offense for the Roughriders in the first half, but they lead in this ball game by a score of 21-7 on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. We're going to take a quick break, hear from our halftime sponsor, Hewer Renovating, and then we're going to come back and we'll take a look at the inductees of the Hall of Fame tonight. We'll do that when we come back right after this. If you're looking to renovate your home, former Rough Rider football standout Craig Hewer is your go-to man. Hewer Renovating is an all-phase residential specialist with over 40 years experience and an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Improve your investment by giving Hewer Renovating a call at 419-394-8643. Zach, you're killing me. He's absolutely killing me. Zach's going to come back and he's going to talk about the Hall of Fame inductees, but the information that he brought with him, he cannot find at this point in time. So he's scurrying about the press box trying to find the information for the Hall of Fame. The Rough Riders lead 21-7 on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. Joe Hurlbert alongside Zach Farrell. We're glad that you're with us tonight here at Grand Lake Health Systems Field at the Rough Rider Athletic Complex. And again, if wherever you may be listening on your computer, if you're able, or your iPhone, text your location where you're at. We've got people listening in Tennessee, Connecticut, all around the state of Ohio. So wherever you might be listening, just kind of in the comments section of your iPhone or on your computer, just text your location where you are listening to us from. We're glad to have you along. Want to remind you that next week that Rider Nation Station will be on the road with the St. Mary's Rough Riders. We'll be at Salina to take on the Salina Bulldogs on the other side of the lake. Big rival for the St. Mary's Rough Riders. And also we'll wrap up the regular season play at home with the Defiance Bulldogs. So how you doing, big fella?
Joe,
you're killing me, man.
I'm just
killing me.
So for those that are listening, wondering what the heck we're doing
I
here,
already told them.
I couldn't find the sheet here, so
it's not the original sheet that you had.
No, I found a replacement. Fortunately, my wife's not listening, Joe, because she'd say it would happen all the time anyway. So thanks, Dave Weilbacher, for finding me a replacement here. So wanted to talk a little bit about the Alumni Hall of Fame inductees tonight. before we get started with that, I wanted to let everybody know they are taking nominations year-round for the Alumni Hall of Fame. They look at 3 different areas. They look at athletics, athletics is one area, service to the St. Mary's City Schools, and then academic and professional achievement. Those are the 3 areas that they look at. So if you know of a high school alumni or faculty member that touched your life or that had a big impact in the world, they're looking for you to nominate that person, and so that they can look at putting them into the Hall of Fame. Once they take that application, they're going to keep it for years and review it every year. As of now, they're only having 3 inducted each year, so they can keep taking more nominations each year as they look to fill that. So tonight we had Dr. Don Thomas. Dr. Thomas was a 1979 graduate of St. Mary's Memorial High School. I don't want to read his entire biography, but I just wanted to go over some of the highlights. He attended the Georgia Military College, where he earned his associate degree in science, and then the University of Houston, where he got his bachelor's degree in biology. Finally, he went to Baylor College of Medicine, where he earned his MD and completed a residency in internal medicine, and also had a fellowship in rheumatology at the Walter Reed Army Medical Center. The main reason for Dr. Thomas's notoriety is that he's one of the foremost experts in lupus. He was among the first in a group of rheumatologists certified by American College of Rheumatology, and he's published several books, including, it's called the Lupus Encyclopedia. So he's really the go-to in the country on this, and it's really been a monumental type of thing in the lupus and rheumatology field. He's been awarded the American Medical Association's Physician Recognition Award and has been rated as one of America's top physicians as well. So lots of wonderful alumni out there, and Dr. Thomas is certainly one of them.
The 2019 St. Mary's All-Brass Marching Band is led by Director Riley.
The inductee for athletic achievement was Mr. Robert G. Vogel. I think a lot of people know him as Bob Vogel, so I'll call him Robert because that's his official name. But Robert Vogel was a 2000 graduate of St. Mary's Memorial High School. Robert is a 3-time world champion and 24-time national champion for practical and combat shooting. He has, and many people know this around, but he has been featured as a guest expert on a History Channel show, Top Shot, and has developed a Vogel competition trigger system for Glock triggers. So he's known throughout the shooting industry and also the sport shooting industry as just one of the top people. And that's why they look to induct him for outstanding superior athletic achievement. The final inductee tonight then was Mr. Albert J. Prof. Kohler, and he was inducted for service to St. Mary's schools. Prof. Kohler went to the University of Wisconsin in 1930 and spent 43 years teaching generations of young men and young women as a teacher and administrator in the St. Mary's City school system. Joe was talking earlier about having him as a teacher. I know my grandma and my mom both had him, so really? He touched many generations. My grandma was a 1956 graduate, I believe, of St. Mary's Memorial High School. So she was very excited to watch those, the Rider Nation Station feature that they did on Prof. Kohler. Prof. Kohler primary taught junior English, and he was known to be hard-nosed. He wanted students to become better versions of themselves and to be prepared for the next stages in their lives. He not only served as an English teacher, but also served as a faculty manager, which is the modern-day equivalent to the athletic director. And I think I can't say enough here really to explain all of his impact, But if you have an opportunity, check out the Rider Nation station. We have a interview with Mary Wilson on Prof. Kohler, going through all of his many accolades and all of his impact in the St. Mary's school system. And just filmed today, we have an interview with some of his family so that they can talk about more of the personal side and also his achievements through something, a lot of things that a lot of people probably just didn't even know about because he was their teacher and they didn't talk about those things. So I don't believe that's on our station yet, but it will be probably this week or next week. And so look out for the interview. Really neat things. As Joe said before, too, I wanted to just reiterate, earlier this week we posted on our Rider Nation station YouTube station, we posted a interview with Dr. Don Thomas, and I had an opportunity to listen to it the other day, and it was just outstanding job by Doug Spencer and Rich Spencer as well. They were able to incorporate a lot of the pictures that Mr. Thomas provided to them of some of the family history, talking about, he called it Rabbit Town, the east side of town in St. Mary's. And it was really neat to see some of those pictures there. They talked about Joe digging through the garbage dump over there, looking for certain items that they were able then to sell to make ends meet. And, just amazing to hear those stories. And I'm glad that Rider Nation Station is able to preserve them for our future generations to eventually hear stories about that.
Well, thanks, Zach. And again, congratulations to the 3 inductees into the Memorial High School Hall of Fame. Very well deserved, and a plaque will be placed in the Commons for generations and generations to see. So once again, congratulations to the 2019 Memorial High School Hall of Fame inductees. Also, we'd like to thank Hewer Renovating, our halftime sponsor. If you're looking to renovate your home, former Rough Rider football standout Craig Hewer is your go-to man. Hewer Renovating is an all-phase residential specialist with over 40 years experience and an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Improve your investment by giving Hewer Renovating a call at 419-394-8643. We want to remind our listeners that this is just an audio broadcast only this week for Rider Nation Station. The video will not be played on Monday or next week as it normally is. This is a bonus game. This was not originally on our broadcast schedule. So we elected, because we did not have the technical people here to bring the video portion to you, that we would just air tonight's audio portion live. And we hope you enjoy it here on Rider Nation Station as the St. Mary's Roughriders are getting ready to kick off for the second half. This kickoff is being brought to you by your State Farm agent, Lori Yelton. Be a legend. Insure your life.
Yeah, we wanted to, though, definitely send another shout out to Connecticut, where the Spencer and Yelton families are out there for Alex Spencer's wedding. So hope you guys are having fun. Hope you're able to listen to the Rider Nation Station out there.
Bowers' kickoff goes into the end zone, so the the Bath Wildcats will have the football on their first possession of the second half. They'll have it 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line. Dallin McDermott is your quarterback. Carter Partapiano is at halfback. So is Blaine Albright. And Troy Johnson is the fullback for the Bath Wildcats. Your Rough Rider defense up front looks like McCollum, Knorr, Foltz, Mabry, Trey Fisher's up there as well. Dallin McDermott in the shotgun for the Bath Wildcats. He's got 2 receivers right, 2 receivers left. Lone setback beside him in the backfield. There's the snap, and the pass is caught out to the left side by number 19. I believe it's Zach Simpson. And Carter Fishbach quickly in on the tackle, but not before he picks up 8 yards on the play.
Yeah, I think we're going to see Bath definitely target number 19, Zach Simpson. He's really made all the catches tonight, and that was a quick pass. That was the first time I really saw them try that quick pass. Unfortunately, it looks like they may have found something here. They're going with the spread offense.
And there's an option pitched, and it'll go out to Partapiano. And he'll get a first down.
Carter Marlaplano.
We'll give him a gain of about 3 yards down. 3 yards, 1st and 10 for the Bath Wildcats at their own 30-yard line.
Yeah, they came out in the shotgun. They had 2 wide receivers left, 2 wide receivers right, and 1 running back in the backfield. And a little bit short downage there, they decided to just run a little bit of an option off the right side. And didn't catch off at the Riders completely sleeping, but they're able to get enough for the first down.
McDermott in the shotgun. Here comes pressure by the Roughriders, put on by Fisher. He forced the pass, and it falls incomplete.
Incomplete pass by number 2, Dallin McDermott. Pressure on the play there by the Roughriders.
Looks like he was targeting Ian Armentrout, but really not throwing it anywhere close to him, about 5 yards behind him on his route.
Good job by Trey Fisher. Getting pressure from the right side of the Rough Rider defense forced him to throw the ball probably a little bit sooner than he would have liked. So it'll bring up 2nd down and 10 on the incomplete pass. Just underway here at the Grand Lake Health Systems Field, 3rd quarter, 10:52 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Glad to have you along. Joe Hurlbert along with Zach Farrell. Here comes Brandon Paul, and a quick pass out to number 6.
Completion there by number 5, Blaine Albright.
Number 5, that's Blaine Albright.
First catch of the day. Been targeted a few times, but they're definitely looking to try to get more of these quick 5-yard outs.
Money down!
Dylan Troglin now on the stop for the Rough Riders, but not before he picked up 5 yards. We'll call it 3rd down and 5 for the Bath Wildcats at their own 35-yard line. Simpson wide to the left. McDermott in the shotgun. Here comes the Rough Rider defense, and Lucas Walter tackles him for a loss, as well as number 97, Blake Knorr. So this will bring up a 4th down and long for the Bath Wildcats, and back to receive the Bath punt will be Ty Howell and Dylan Troglin. Yes, Lex Bodecker will get ready to punt it for the Bath Wildcats.
Dallin McDermott tried to roll out to his left, and he was just met with a wall of Rough Riders there. He kind of turned around and looked like he's running for his life the opposite direction here towards his right. But there were no wide receivers anywhere in sight on this side. So great job of Lucas Walter closing the gap, taking him down, and Blake Knorr finishing the job.
4th and 15 for Bath. Bodecker on the punt. Here comes the Rider defense, almost blocked by Tanner Howell. The ball is rolling. It's a good Bath bounce, and it will be inside the St. Mary's 40-yard line, blown dead at the Rough Rider 37, or with 9:13 remaining here in the 3rd quarter on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. The Rough Riders will have their first possession here of the 2nd half.
Well, that was about as close as you can get for Tanner Howell blocking that punt there. And I like that call. You know, you say, all right, you're not going to punt it to our guys. We're going to send a couple guys after your punter. We're going to force you to make that decision that if you're going to try to punt it short, you're going to try to punt it left or right. We're going to make you start thinking about our guys coming after you there. Unfortunately, it looks like it did kind of get to the punter a little bit because it was not a great punt, but got another great roll.
Austin Parks wide to the left, give the ball up the middle to Ethan Wedding. Wedding picks up a gain of about 12. Give it 1st down and 10.
That was just a great classic halfback dive there from St. Mary's. Right over the left side of the line, hitting the 5-hole outside the guard and tackle.
Bupp hands off to Hinkle. He'll gain about 1. The trap doesn't seem to be working exceptionally well tonight for the Rough Riders. The Bath Wildcats have really got the trap snuffed out. So it seems like the Riders do well running outside the tackles on the dive play and the sweeps.
Yeah, but you'll see Coach Fry continue to push the trap because he knows the second that he stops running that, they're going to start moving those interior linemen a little bit outside and sitting on the dive end.
Well, Hinkle with the ball, and he was met on the handoff by number 65 for the Bath Wildcats. That's Caleb Bowen. And he gets back to the line of scrimmage where it'll be 3rd down and – no, he lost yardage. No, he's 3rd down and 8.
Yeah, someone missed their blocking assignment there, or he did a great job of getting off of it because he was in the backfield to meet Aiden Hinkle right away.
Look for the counter back on to Ty Howe, and here it comes. Double reverse. Wedding to Howe. He's got people out in front of him. He'll cut back. He's to the Bath 45, and he gets it to the Bath 43-yard line. He's going to be about 2 yards short of a first down. We're going to call it 4th down and 2 for the Roughriders. We'll see what head coach Fry wants to do with this one. He's going to send Kurt Butt back in with the offensive play. So the Roughriders have elected to go for it here on 4th down and 2. Howell in the wing. Hinkle behind him. Long count by the Roughriders. Turn, give it to Hinkle. Good run by Hinkle. He'll get the first down and more. We'll give him a gain of about 8 yards on the play by Aiden Hinkle.
Yeah, Joe, what that was it was a 5 dive, but they ran it to the fullback. So they like to do that because they get an extra blocker with the halfback. You have the halfback go through that 5 dive hole, and you send the fullback in behind them. And really a perfect play call right there.
I saw Morgan Seawer run off the field, so he's in obviously on short down situations for the Roughriders. This could be a pass back to Wedding. He's not. He's going to give it to Ty Howell, and he's going to be brought down behind the line of scrimmage. The reason why I thought it was going to be a pass back to Wedding because he was back off the line of scrimmage by about 4 yards. He wasn't even close to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, he had kind of an odd lineup there. They ended up running the ball to that side kind of on a sweep, so I don't know if he was playing a little bit further back to give himself a better opportunity to block his defensive back or not. But
nonetheless, we'll give – there's a loss on the play of about 2. We'll call it 2nd down and 12. Wedding on the carry. Bounces off 1. Good second effort. And he'll gain about 7 yards on the play when it was all said and done.
Yeah, a little bit of a counter play there. I haven't really seen that too much tonight. Starting to see Doug Fry's offense come out in a couple of different formations and run a different play, which is always good. You want to give the defense something else to think about and something they haven't seen tonight. And definitely probably saw some stuff at halftime that they thought we're not getting up the middle. We're going to try some of these counters, some of the outside stuff because we think they're flowing too hard one way.
Turn. Buff wants to pass. He's got people open. He's going to throw it to Ethan Freewald. And Freewald to get the ball down to about the 5-yard line.
Great job that time by Kurt Bupp. Rolled out, had some pressure in the back, but stepped up into the pocket. Just enough time for Ethan Freewald to come a little maybe 10-yard in route. And he was just open right in front of him. Dumped it off, and Ethan Freewald took it to the races about another 15, 20 yards.
Good poise by the senior quarterback, Kurt Bupp. It'll be 1st and goal at the Bath 6. Fraley on the carry for the Roughriders. He'll get it down inside the 5-yard line. They'll place it at about the 3 of the Bath Wildcats.
That was the same 5 fullback dive that we saw Hinkle run earlier on that 4th down. What I'm seeing a lot tonight, Joe, is they are running to the left side of the line on that interior side there with Stash Patterson and Riley Swigert and Gavin Ward.
Turn, give the ball to Fraley, and he's going to be just short of the goal line.
Another dive to that left side. So either they're definitely seeing more push from that left side. It could just be that Bath has a lot more harder defenders on the right side, but
Hinkle in, Fraley out. Roughriders will be 3rd, and we'll call it 1 yard with the ball setting at the 1-yard line. Full house in the backfield. Bupp turns, give it to Hinkle, and he's going to be short. So it'll be 4th down and goal for the Roughriders at the 1-yard line.
Yeah, I think they've tried the same play 3 times. It's been that fullback dive to the left side. Got some pretty good yardage on 1st down and then got stuffed the last 2 downs there. Probably looking for some different kind of play this time, you'd think.
Full house backfield. Bupp under center. Turn, give it to Hinkle, the right side, touchdown.
Roughriders.
This time the St. Mary's Roughriders went off the right side following the blocks of Riley Swigert and Logan Allen and Devin Shannon. And the Roughriders are on the scoreboard once again and now lead at the 3:56 mark, 27-7 on our St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard.
Yeah,
Braden Bowers in to try the point after. This kick is up, and the kick is good. So with 3 minutes and 56 seconds remaining here in the third quarter, on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard, it's the St. Mary's Roughriders 28, the Bath Wildcats 7. We'll be back right after this.
Allglaze Equipment Rental is your source for all equipment needs. Whether you're a contractor or a homeowner with a project, we can help get the job done more efficiently. Check us out at 1900 Salina Road in St. Mary's or allglazeequipmentrental.com. Or just give us a call, 419-394-7883. Allglaze Equipment Rental. Stop in and see them today. Albert Sporting Goods, located in downtown St. Mary's, takes pride in serving retail and team customers throughout the area and state of Ohio. Our products consist of individual and team equipment for all community organizations, club teams, high school, and collegiate sports. Our on-site services include embroidery, screen printing, digitizing, and graphic design. For all your sporting good needs, stop in at Albert Sporting Goods, 121 West Spring Street in St. Mary's.
Alrighty, we welcome back to Grand Lake Health Systems Field. Joe Hurlbert along with Zach Farrell on Rider Nation Station. This kickoff is being brought to you by your State Farm agent, Lori Yelton. Be a legend, ensure your life. Back to receive the kickoff for the Bath Wildcats is Zach Simpson, who has the football. And he'll get it to the Bath 25-yard line, where the Bath Wildcats will have it 1st and 10.
While you have your tickets out,
3 minutes and 49 seconds remaining here in the third quarter.
You know,
Roughriders lead 28-7 on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. Go ahead.
Yeah, you know, Joe, looking back at that Rough Rider touchdown, they ran the same play four times in a row. The first 3 downs, they ran it to the left side. You wondered what Coach Fry was going to call there on that 4th down. He says, "Okay, we're going to run the same play, but we'll just try the other side." So, and that was the ticket.
Keep in mind, even though Hinkle's just a freshman, he's 6'2" and 190 pounds. So
Tough not to give him the ball and say,
absolutely,
"Get me 1 yard."
exactly. We got 3 receivers to the right, to the left, 2 to the left for the Bath Wildcats. McDermott is going to throw it back to the left side, and that's going to be a loss on the play. Pass was complete to Ian Armitrout.
Bath was looking to, I think, try a little trickery there. They had 3 wide receivers to the right, 2 to the left. The quarterback, Dallin McDermott, looked to the right, pump faked, looked like it was a setup screen there to those 3 wide receivers, and then turned back quick to the left to try to throw it to the left, trying to catch St. Mary's overreacting, but good job of staying on the guys.
McDermott in the gun, looks for the pass, being pressured. Pass thrown out. It's almost. Nope, ball hit the ground. It was almost picked off by Ty Howell.
incomplete pass there by number 2, Dallin McDermott.
So the pass is incomplete. Ball hit the ground. Ty Howell made the catch, but the official said it hit the ground before he made the catch. So it'll be 3rd down and 11 for the Bath Wildcats. Now, you know, this is funny. I want to hear Doug Spencer say that next on the last game on the PA. So it'll be 3rd down and 11 for the Bath Wildcats.
Yeah, we have assistant principal Nick Hager over here on the announcements, and 3rd down is the money down now, I guess.
McDermott, little pass over the middle, complete to number 3. That's Bodecker. And he gained pretty much a couple of yards on the play, so it'll still bring up 4th down and about 8. So Ty Howell will go back along with Dylan Troglin to receive the Bath Wildcat punt. Lee Bodecker will do the punting for the Cats. 2:32 remaining in the third quarter. Clock is running. Riders lead 28-7 on the McDonald or on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard.
Yeah, good job that time by St. Mary's.
Here comes Howell. Oh, we're gonna get flagged. Yeah, no, he was pushed. The official said he was pushed into the kicker. And Ty Howell loses the football, but they say he's down.
Punt there returned by number 12, Ty
This
Howell.
play's kind of like a mess.
Wildcats on that play.
Well,
Around the 40-yard
Tanner
line.
Howell came in to block the punt. The punter was knocked down by Howell, but they said he was blocked into him, so there's no flag there. And then Ty Howell on the receiving side picked up a few yards on the reception, and the ball came loose, but the football came loose because of the ground, and the ground cannot cause a fumble. So when the dust settles and the smoke clears, the Rough Riders have the football 1st and 10 at their own 41-yard line.
Subway, Arby's,
Turn, hand back to Troglin. Troglin up the right side. He'll gain of about 5 yards. We'll call it 2nd down and 5 for the Rough Riders. Rough Riders run the counter, hoping to catch Bath flowing to the right and countering back to the left.
That punt was confusing enough, and then you throw in the two brothers there, so you have Howell on both sides of that.
Kurt Bupp dive to Troglin. Troglin picks up the 1st down and more. Nice run by Troglin. We'll give him a gain of about 11 yards on the play.
Result of the play is a Rough Rider 1st down.
Yeah, the St. Mary's coaches are definitely seeing something where they're getting a certain formation. Bath is leaving that left side dive wide open because we're running it for 12, 13 yards of play.
Dive to Howell on the right side. We'll give him a gain of about
Run by number
5
12,
on the
Ty Howell,
play.
Tackled by number 26, Carter Harlow Plano. Result of the play. Be a
We'll call it
2nd
2nd down and
from the
6.
Wildcat 38-yard line.
St. Mary's at the Bath 38-yard line. Hinkle into the ball game at fullback. Kurt Bupp gets the play from Doug Fry. Brings the blue and gold out. Riley Swigert, the center. Turn, give the ball to Hinkle. Hinkle off the right side. We'll give him a gain of about 4 on the play. 3 on the play.
34. Run of the play, number 3, Aiden Hinkle.
We'll call it 3rd down and 2 at the Bath
34-yard line. Result of the play is
34-yard
3rd
line.
and 2.
Yeah, you know, maybe they're sensing that they were running it too much to the left because now we're seeing them run those same dive plays to the right side. So I don't know if Bath shifted that way, but starting to see St. Mary's really pick them apart on either side.
Austin Parks will go wide right. And there's Hinkle and carries a Bath defender. It's going to be close to a 1st down. It just depends on where the officials spot the football.
Carried by number 3, Aiden Hinkle. Tackled on the play by number 56, Canyon Foley.
Well, I think they're going to say it's short. We've got a timeout on the field with the score. St. Mary's 28, Bath 7. Well, as a matter of fact, it's not a timeout. It's the end of the 3rd quarter with the score on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. The Rough Riders 28, the Bath Wildcats 7. We'll be back right after this.
Guarneri's on Spring Street, home of the signature Big Ralph sub, pizza, and calzone. Come try our thirst-quenching Riderade before, during, and after the game. Stop in after the game and meet your friends. It's Guarneri's. Give them a call, 419-394-2244. Varsity Lanes in St. Mary's, home of the Rough Riders 2018-2019 Boys and Girls State Bowling Champions. Striking up delicious food, 32 taps, Queen of Hearts, and nightly food and drink specials, as well as great family atmosphere. Also remember that carryouts are available. Stop in and see us after the game. Go Rough Riders.
Well, they're going to measure. Well, they're not. Well, they are kind of measuring. It's going to be short of a 1st down, but now what they're going to do is they're going to move this to the other end of the field. Make sure they get it exactly where it needs to be. And the Rough Riders will have the football basically 4th and inches for a 1st down.
Yeah, that official is holding his hand up and has his thumb and index finger about an inch apart, showing that. So I suspect we'll see St. Mary's going for it here.
I think so. Well, again, we want to remind everybody listening that we will be on the road next week with Salina, with the audio and video broadcast of the St. Mary's Salina game on the road at Salina. I will tell you this, that make sure you dress warm because we are outside. We're underneath and we'll be in the elements. So
Yeah.
that'll be awesome.
Yeah, it's a very neat stadium over there in Salina. Historical, right up on the field, and it's always interesting that not the biggest press box. So I know a lot of times you're shoved kind of underneath of it,
We'll be sitting with the fans,
and
maybe.
you're with the fans. That's what I'm gonna say. That's the best part about it. You're gonna have lots of people to your left and right that watching the game right beside you.
Absolutely. Well, the Rough Riders will have it 4th and inches. I look nothing more than a quarterback sneak from Kurt Bupp, and he should get the first down. Good line surge by the O-line. Stash Patterson, Riley Swigert, Logan Allen.
Rough Rider, first down.
And the Rough Riders will have a fresh set of downs. And Kurt Bupp has got a little bit of a limp. But obviously he'll play through this. But it came up a little gimpy.
Yeah, I saw him earlier in the game wince a little bit on the first drive. I was wondering if we were going to see anything happen from that. And I don't know if it's a re-injured or a re-aggravated sort of thing, but limping a little bit.
Bupp. Troglin on the carry. We've got a flag on the play.
We have a flag on the play.
So Dylan Troglin picks up about 2 on the play. But we got a flag on the play, and I think it's going to be a hold against the Rough Riders.
Yeah, it looks like number 52. This was a Stash Patterson. This was a sweep to the right side. He came out as a guard, pulled, and threw it really pretty quick right there. Just must have taken too much of the guy's jersey down with him.
So it'll actually be first down and 19 to go for the Rough Riders. They have the football and the lead, 28-7 on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. Kurt Bupp, 3-step drop. He's throwing it out to, the pass was intended for the freshman Parks, and it goes through his hands. He got behind the defender. It was good defense. He got behind him by about a step. And good pass by Bupp, just wasn't able to haul it in. So it'll be second down and 19 for the Rough Riders as Parks will come to the sideline. And Ethan Freewalt will come in.
Yeah, it was a really beautiful throw, too.
Yeah.
Just dropped it right in over his shoulder. Didn't really see – it didn't look like it bounced off his hands. Didn't look like the defender knocked it out. Just looked like maybe a little too good. Just went right through his hands there.
Hit him in a bad place.
Yeah.
The hands. Quick pitch to Hinkle, sweeping to the left. He's got good blocking up front, but Bath defense closes quickly and will only give him a couple of yards.
Bath coaches are jumping up and down. They said he fumbled, but it looks like the officials are saying, nope, he was down.
So to bring up third down and 17 for the Rough Riders. It's an obvious passing situation for the Rough Riders. We'll see what happens. Troglin will go wide to the left. Howell in the wing to the right. Bupp rolls to the right, and he's got Howell all by himself, and it's almost caught by Ty Howell. It was
Pass by number Bupp, intended for number 12, Ty Howell. Pass break up there by number 3.
Well, what you had there was Troglin rolled out to the right. Great pass protection. Didn't have anybody in his face. Really didn't have anybody pushing them. You had Ty Howe down the field on a kind of running a corner route, and he had 2 or 3 steps on his receiver. The ball was a little bit underthrown. The defensive back jumped up and was able to pop it up in the air, and Ty Howe still almost came down with it.
But then as he had it into his hands, it was knocked out of his hands for an incomplete pass. Bowers with the punt. And it's going to take a St. Mary's roll inside the 5 where it'll roll out of bounds at about the 5-yard line. Good punt by Brandon Bowers. So the punt will pin the Bath Wildcats back at their own 5-yard line. So they've got 95 yards to go.
And Joe, that was another Rough Rider drive that was stopped by a penalty, though.
Yep.
You know, you had a lot of momentum. Were able to get the yardage going down the field. A couple holding calls, and you're coming back there. you can get away with it when you're up 28-7, but
Yep.
you have one of these close games, you got to get that cleaned up. So plenty to work on in this week for the coaches.
1st and 10 for the Bath Wildcats. McDermott under center. He'll give the ball to Partapiano. No, I'm sorry. That's Trey Johnson.
Trey Johnson.
Boy, he's a big boy, too.
Picked up a first down for the Wildcats.
Johnson, 5'11", 220 pounds.
Wow.
Partapiano, he's 5'9", 195. So they got some big running backs.
Yeah, they just ran a little off-tackle dive with them and just didn't have any St. Mary's defensive linemen close to him and kind of just ran over some of the linebackers.
So it'll be 1st and 10 for Bath at their own 17-yard line on the first down by Johnson. Quick pitch. It'll go to Partapiano, I believe. And he'll run the sweep, and he'll gain about, we'll call it about 4 yards on the play.
Tackled by number 97, Blake Kennor, and number 35, Tanner Howell.
So we'll call it, we'll give him a gain of 4. We'll call him 2nd down and 6 for the Bath Wildcats. We've got a player down for the Bath Wildcats. So we've got, and we'll see if we're going to call timeout on the field. They are. While they attend the Bath player on the far side of the field, we'll take this quick break with 9:21 remaining on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard in the contest. It's the St. Mary's Roughriders 28, Bath Wildcats 7. We'll be back right after this.
Unique Awards and Signs, here to take care of your signage, graphic awards, and gift customization needs. From banners for your graduation or corporate sponsors to awards recognizing those dedicated employees or champion sports teams. Stop in at 1865 Salina Road and see how we can help you with your custom needs. Give us a call, 419-394-1612. Unique Awards and Signs. Vogel's Bake Shop, making thousands of donuts daily. Open 7 days a week with stores in St. Mary's, Salina, and Wapak. Also found in Wagner IGA stores in New Bremen, Minster, and Fort Laramie.
All righty, Zach, back to action here at Grand Lake Health Systems Field. The injured player for the Bath Wildcats was number 85. That's Lucas Pritchard,
I'll get it out.
a 6'5", 212 offensive and defensive lineman for the Bath Wildcats. It'll be 2nd down and 6 for Bath at their own 22-yard line. McDermott under center. He'll turn. He'll give the ball to
Hand off to number 22, Trey
Johnson.
Tackled by most of the Rough Rider defense.
So we'll give him a gain of a
3 for
couple.
the Wildcats.
3rd down and
And a
3
Rough Rider.
for the Bath
Money
Wildcats.
down!
Joe, I believe it's a 3rd down, so it's a money down if you didn't hear
You
that.
think it is?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. 3rd down and 3 for the Bath Wildcats. A money down, if you will. 8:30 on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. Clock is running. McDermott is going to go back for the pass. He's being pressured by Lucas Walter. The ball's on the field, and we'll see who comes up with it. Rough Riders say they have it. St. Mary's coaches out about the numbers. They say the Rough Riders have the football. We'll see as they unpile. And the Rough Riders have the football. And the ball is recovered by, I believe, number 59, Trace Mabry.
Yeah, great job there. You had just a swarm of Rough Riders around the running back, and one of them knocked it out because it went down pretty quickly, and it wasn't much of an argument from the back side. So, and then it looked like the ball kind of rolled around a lot because after the whistle was blown, I saw the ball kind of pop out a little bit, and somebody jumped on it real quick. So, great job there. You know, that's something that you coach when you have a pile like that. You get in there and you make sure that you come out with the ball.
Morgan Seaver in the ball game for the Rough Riders. He'll line up at one of the tackle slots. And Troglin's going to throw it out to Howell. Howell's got it at the 5, and he's going to touchdown.
Touchdown, Rough Riders!
Good job by Dylan Troglin on the halfback pass to Ty Howell, who caught it at about the 5-yard line, escaped one would-be tackler, and drug one into the end zone. So the Rough Riders are on the scoreboard once again and lead 34-7 at 8:05 remaining with the point after to come.
Yeah, that was we've seen that same halfback pass now 3 or 4 times. Just a setup sweep to Troglin, and Howe goes for that little short out and is
Bad
able
snap. Kurt Bupp is going to take it, and we got whistles on the. We got whistles. They're going to stop this play. Well, keep in mind, Dylan Troglin started the ball game against Sydney at quarterback.
Right.
So he can throw the ball.
Right.
And a good job of Doug Fry and his staff utilizing that ability to throw the football.
Why not? When you have those athletes and you have those skill positions, you put them in a spot that they can make plays for you. You know, the pass was a little bit underthrown there. Ty Howe was able to come back to it and made a great move as soon as he caught the ball to shed one of the defenders and then dove into the end zone. Pretty neat.
All right, they're resetting for the point after. Kurt Bupp will hold. Bowers, kick is up, and the kick is good. So with 8 minutes and 5 seconds remaining here in the contest, on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard, it's the Roughriders 35, the Bath Wildcats 7. We'll take a break. We'll come back right after this.
The Fellowship of Christian Athletes is a middle school and high school club looking to spread God's love throughout numerous schools and communities in our local area. FCA's favorite play of the game is when both teams come together at the end of the game to pray. FCA, making a difference in the lives of our student athletes. God bless you, sports fans. TSC is an independent telephone company that has been serving Wapakoneta, Cridersville, and surrounding areas with phone service since 1895. In 2003, we made history by expanding all of our offerings into the city of St. Mary's. We are dedicated to bringing our customers state-of-the-art technology and services with a hometown flair for individual customer care. We encourage you to stop in and see us at 155 East High Street in St. Mary's and check out the products and services TSC can provide.
All righty, this kickoff is being brought to you by your State Farm agent, Laura Yelton. Be a legend. Insure your life. Bowers' kick is taken by Simpson inside the 10-yard line. He's brought it up to about the 30, breaks a couple of rider tackles, gets it to the 40. And he's going to be brought down at about the 43-yard line.
Zach Simpson probably brought down the play by number 4, Lucas Walter.
Lucas Walter in on the tackle for special teams for the Roughriders. So the Bath Wildcats will have the football 1st and 10.
Yeah, out of 5 or 6 kick returns tonight, that's about the first good one for Bath there. Finally, we talked about it at halftime. They were starting about their own 20-yard line. This time they get to start at the 40-yard line. So see if they can put anything together here. Probably, though, not going to be able to put together 28 points in 7 minutes. But
I don't think so. McDermott in the shotgun, one set back beside him. He gets it. He'll hand it off to Johnson. And now we got a late flag.
Trey Johnson met the line by the defense in front of the Roughriders. There's a flag on the play.
yeah, it looks like a holding on Bath. That's where at least the area of the field that you typically see that.
On the Wildcats.
So it'll be holding on the Bath Wildcats. They're going to move it back 10, so it'll be 1st down and 20 for the Bath Wildcats at their own 32-yard line.
Stepped off, that will be a 1st down and 20 from the 32-yard line.
7 minutes left in the game. If you're St. Mary's defense, you just don't want to give up any real big plays. Make them earn it.
McDermott out of the shotgun. Pump fake. He's going downfield. He's got a man wide open. Beat his defender. And a good catch down there by the defender. I believe it's number 6. I believe it's Ian Armitrout.
Number 2 down, McDermott. Tackle on the play. Is that Fishbone?
I believe Armitrout.
Yeah, I think that's Armitrout.
Armitrout caught the football, and he was tackled by Fishbach. So a good pickup for the Bath Wildcats. That's their largest of the ball game.
Tackled by number 8, Carson.
So the football will be placed at the St. Mary's Roughriders 33-yard line, where the Bath Wildcats will have it 1st and 10. Three receivers to the right, one to the left for the Bath Wildcat. Lone setback beside McDermott. He's being pressured by the Rough Rider defense, but he gets it over to number 6, Armatrout.
Completion number 5.
Number 5,
Blaine Albright.
Albright. Blaine Albright, I'm sorry.
Tackle on the play by number 59, Trace Mabry.
We'll give him a gain of about 8 on the
Well,
play.
also like
Second
to
down and
announce
2.
That St. Mary's Cross Country competes at district meet tomorrow at OG. That start time is 11 a.m.
Yeah, just a
cross country tomorrow.
pretty good pressure there on St. Mary's, but quarterback was able to look to his left, find the open guy, a little bit of a screen, and had some blockers in front of him, able to get some gain on there.
McDermott under center. Quick pitch. It goes to Johnson. Johnson keeps his balance, escapes one tackle, and is tackled by Ty Howe. But not before he picks up a first down after a gain of about 7-8 yards on the play.
Bath has sort of switched here as they got into the red zone to a big formation. You have 2 tight ends out there and 2 or 3 running backs, it looks like. Trying to do a little bit of a power football here. Got the I formation.
Albright to the right. 2 running backs behind McDermott. He'll give the ball to Johnson, I believe.
Number 26, Carter Parlaplano with the carry.
Partapolano.
Tackled by number 35, Tanner
Trey
Howe.
Johnson and Carter Partapolano. Pretty much
1 yard
built
gain brings up a
identical.
Second down and 9.
Yeah, both a couple of real nice big running backs. Speaks well, I guess, for the St. Mary's defense that we really haven't talked about him very much until this fourth quarter.
Second down and 9 for the Bath Wildcats. Pitch to Partapolano, I believe.
Run by number 26, Carter Parlaplano. Tackle on the play by number 6, Ethan Lennon.
We'll give him a gain of about 5 on the play. We'll call it third down and
The game will
about
bring up a third down and 4 for the
and
Bath
4.
Wildcats. Another Rough
Tried to get
Rider.
outside, tried to get that edge, but good job by the Rough Rider defender to trip him up there.
Just open the window.
I can get their attention down there.
McDermott under center for the Bath Wildcats. Pitch, give it to, I believe, Johnson. It might be good enough for a first down. He may have picked up 4 on the. Now they're going to give him a first down on the carry, so it'll be first and goal for the Bath Wildcats. The ball will be setting at the Rough Riders 7-yard line. 4:30 remaining in the ball game. 35-7 Rough Riders
Yeah, just
on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard.
just a little pitch to the right, but wasn't really any defenders around him. He almost tackled himself by running into one of his blockers and is able to take it up the middle for a few yards.
Johnson, Partapolano behind McDermott. He's under center. He rolls. He's been pressured on. The ball's up in the air. It's going to be picked off. Picked off by Fishbach, I believe. Fishbach is he's going to go to the 40, to the 50. He's got one person to beat, and he is tackled at about the 40-yard line.
Number 8, Carson Fishball.
Well, Fishball intercepted that in the end zone. Had a lot of Bath offensive players around him. I didn't think it was the smartest thing maybe to come out at first, but took it out and had some blockers out in front of him.
You were wrong. Nice return by Carson Fishbach into Bath territory. So the Rough Riders will have the ball first and 10 at the Bath 40-yard line. And another good defensive stand, a bend but don't break type of defensive stand as the Bath Wildcats probably put together their best drive of the ball game. Rough Riders will have it. Give the ball to Fraley. He'll gain about 5 yards on the play.
And there's flags.
Met by the Wildcats after a few-yard gain.
I don't see a flag. They say there's flag. No, it's in the back. It's in the back. Back judge called the penalty.
Yeah, way in the back there.
Way in the back. The Rough Riders snapped the football on the 40. The flag that was thrown is setting at about the 23-yard line of Bath. Personal foul. Personal foul against the Rough Riders. Personal foul against Bath. Offsetting penalty. So they'll give Fraley the gain of about 4. So we'll call it 2nd down and 6 for the Rough Riders. Gavin Reinecke enters the ball game for the first time for the Rough Riders. He's going to enter at quarterback. So Gavin Reinecke is your quarterback. Under center, turn, give the ball to Henshin. Ross Henshin spins and picks up a couple on the play.
Yeah, I think here in the last 3 minutes we'll see a healthy group of replacements coming into the game. Some of the JV getting some playing time here.
Ryan Meyer comes into the ball game for the Rough Riders, number 44. It'll be 3rd down and 4 for the Rough Riders at the Bath 34-yard line. By the time this is snapped, we'll be under 3 minutes to go in the contest. Reinecke under center, turns. He'll give the ball to Hemmelgarn. No, excuse me, Braden Hemmelgarn. Number 11. I think the Rough Riders are in 2-down territory. I think they're going to go for it. The clock is the ally of the Rough Riders as it continues to tick. 2:30 remaining in the contest. Gavin Reinecke getting the play from head coach Doug Fry. Reinecke is 6'2", 160-pound sophomore. Riders hustle to the line of scrimmage. Reinecke turns. He's going to pass. He's got a receiver open. He's going to throw it short. Pass was intended to number 23, Zach Hess.
Reinecke had a wide receiver 30 yards down the field that was pretty open. He just couldn't see him, I don't think. Went for the short pass, which is probably smart there, trying to get a first down, but fortunately threw it a little late and threw it a little out of bounds, out of the player's reach.
So we're going to have a whole host of defenders.
Yep, we got some of the JVers in there. So Eugene Farrell Jr., 24.
Henshin's in at linebacker. Hemmelgarn's at a cornerback. Austin Parks will be at linebacker. Kellen Eigenbrod will be at linebacker. And we'll give you the front defensive front. We got a timeout on the field called by Bath. We'll keep it right here. Also in on defense is number 36. That's Dylan Giesige.
Timeout, Bath Wildcats.
24, Eugene Farrell Jr. is in. Number 46, Nick Schwartz will be in on defense as well. Trying to spot some of the defensive linemen that is into the ball game. 2 minutes and 8 seconds remaining in the football contest. 35-7. Rough Riders on top on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard.
Looks like maybe number 95, Brandon Headley.
Yep. 46 and 67 is in there. 67.
Zeke Keano.
Yep.
Rough Riders.
And number 46, we said Nick Schwartz. He's at left defensive end. So we'll see if the Bath Wildcats counter with new people. They do not. It'll still be Dallin McDermott at quarterback. He's under center. He'll turn. He'll give the ball to Trey Johnson, I believe.
Nice run there by number 22, Trey Johnson.
Johnson will pick up the first down. Kyle Kogi in on the stop for the Rough Riders, but not before he picks up good yards and the ball's into Rough Rider territory. It'll be first down and 10. McDermott's got a receiver back deep, and it is picked off by Hemmelgarn. Or did he?
Yep.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did.
Good job by Braden Hemmelgarn, and he comes up a little gimpy. But nonetheless, the Rough Riders will have the football with 1:47 remaining.
Well, Dallin McDermott tried to go over the top, and Braden Himmelgarn's not your typical JV or second stringer there.
No, he's not.
He's got a lot of skill. He went up with the receiver and went over the top of the receiver, picked it off, came down maybe on the ball, maybe knocked the wind out of him. I think maybe we saw there, but looks like he's okay now. So
Well,
great play for Braden Himmelgarn on
I
that.
think he'll remain in the ball game as one of the running backs. Reineke out. Rough Riders hustle to the line of scrimmage. These guys want to play a little bit.
Yep.
Ball up the middle, give it to. Can't see who the Rough Rider runner was. Number 20, Ross
20,
Henson.
Ross Henson.
Rough Rider. First down.
It'll be a first down
She's
for the
still
Rough
here.
Riders. Good pickup for the Rough Riders.
I'd also like to give a shout out to a very important person in Memorial High School. I'd like to say happy birthday, Teresa Reason. Thank you for all you do for the students. She is going to.
Reineke still the quarterback. In the backfield with him is Aiden Eigenbrod. And I think, is that going to be Henson again?
Yeah, it looked like another trap up the middle. This time, though, didn't have the same kind of hole that the last play did.
We'll be under a minute when this next play starts. Into the ball game is number 17. That's Adam Turner. Hemmelgarn will come to the sideline. Also into the ball game, number 16, Riley Metz checks in. Riley, a 6'1", 150-pound senior. Reineke under center. Split backfield behind him. He'll turn.
17.
He'll give the ball to number 17, Adam Turner. Turner will pick up about 4 yards. We'll call it second down. Well, they're going to give him 3 yards. We'll call it third down and 7.
Good hard run and some pretty good blocking up front. Just got a little tripped up there coming through, but
well, the Riders might let the clock run out. And I think that's exactly what they're going to do. We're down to 12, 10, 8, 5. This one's over. The St. Mary's Rough Riders.
Final score here at Grand Lake Health Field.
Win this one going away, 35-7.
7.
We're going to take a quick break. Zach's going to come and bring us some statistics, but we'll come back and recap this contest right after this.
Association appreciate your support of high school athletics. Please exit the stadium at this time and have a safe trip home.
This post-game show is being brought to you by Hewer Renovating. If you're looking to renovate your home, former Rough Rider football standout Craig Hewer is your go-to man. Hewer Renovating is an all-phase residential specialist with over 40 years experience and an A-plus Better Business Bureau rating. Improve your investment by giving Hewer Renovating a call at 419-394-8643. Back at Grand Lake Health Systems Field at the Rough Rider Athletic Complex, where the St. Mary's Rough Riders win going away 35-7 over the Bath Wildcats on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. Joining me once again as we recap the contest is Mark Huber. And Mark, Rough Riders came out with a little bit more intensity offensively. Of course, I don't think they played to their full potential, but nonetheless, this one's a win, 35-7 going away, and really wasn't challenged. And when they were challenged, the Rough Rider defense came up big.
Yeah, that's been the big key tonight was the defense, obviously. Coach Fry's probably not too happy, too pleased. He's pleased with the win. Take a win whenever you can get it, especially against a WBL opponent. It's a great score, 35-7. Defense played well, but the offense has got a lot of work to do. And it gives them something to get ready for next week.
Again, if there's anything that came out of this one, a lot of young people got a chance to play, and that's always positive. Get some of that Friday night experience, which will carry them into maybe next year and their senior year.
Certainly. Anytime you can get those young guys in and get them some reps is a positive, and you keep them hungry. And like we said last week, there's nothing better than a Friday night game.
Well, the Rough Riders will take on Salina next week. They got a lot of work ahead of them to do. I don't know if you've seen or heard anything about what the Bulldogs will bring to the table.
I have not. They're struggling a little bit. So I heard something. They've gone through a few quarterbacks. They have some problems with that. They did not play well tonight against Walpock. But it's Salina. It's St. Mary's. It's going to be a battle. And I'm sure Coach Fry will have them ready to play.
Well, of course, Rider Nation Station will be there with all the action as the St. Mary's Roughriders will travel to Salina to take on the Bulldogs next week. We'll be on the air approximately 6:45 with the rebroadcast coming the following Monday on TSC. So, Mark, any final thoughts? As you said, the Riders have some work to do. Defense played well. Got some big interceptions. The Helmelgarn kid picked one off here, and probably the Bass Wildcats' deepest penetration in the contest, other than their touchdown drive.
Yeah, and the thing tonight is we got to watch the Joe Idle and check out the computer points and see where we sit with that. We did what we needed to do tonight, and we need to continue doing that. But we're going to need some help, for the playoff look.
Well, right now the Rough Riders, as far as the computer standings are, they rank 5th. And if they win out, that's probably what everybody's predicting them to be, finish 5th. They really need a big boost in the final game of the season when Sydney takes on Greenville.
Yeah.
That will be a big one in our division. And if Sydney can upset Greenville, it could give the Riders a lot of points, maybe move them up a spot or two in the final computer polls. But everybody is predicting if the Riders continue to win out and do what they have to do, that they could probably finish in the 5th spot.
Yeah, just being in the playoffs is awesome. Host would be, icing on the cake. We're going to need a little bit of help to get to that hosting spot.
Absolutely. Well, Mark, thanks a lot for stopping by and giving your thoughts and perspective of tonight's win. 35-7, Rough Riders win on the St. Mary's Foundry scoreboard. We'll take a break. We'll come back with Stats with Zach right after we hear from Hewer Renovating. Hewer Renovating is an all-phase residential specialist with over 40 years experience and an A-plus Better Business Bureau rating. If you're looking to renovate your home, former Rough Rider football standout Craig Hewer, he's your go-to man. Improve your investment by giving Hewer Renovating a call at 419-394-8643. Rough Riders win going away 35-7 over the Bath Wildcats. They run their Western Buckeye League record to 5-2. 6-2 overall as the Rough Riders prepare themselves this week to take on the Salina Bulldogs over at Salina. And here to take a look at the game statistics, once again, here's Zach.
Yeah, Joe, we saw a little bit more offensive production for both teams that second half. So first downs for the game, St. Mary's had 15, Bath had 10. Total yards for the game, St. Mary's with 240, Bath with 209. St. Mary's was 5 for 10 in passing with 1 touchdown. Bath was 10 for 20 with 3 interceptions. So really a big difference there between both the passing games. St. Mary's had a net passing yards of 84. Bath had 136. Rushing for St. Mary's, 44 rushes, but only 156 yards. For Bath, they had 21 rushing attempts for 73 yards. Both teams had 1 fumble and 1 loss. Penalties, both teams did clean it up a lot better in the second half. St. Mary's finished with 6 penalties for 68 yards, and Bath finished with 6 penalties for 55 yards. Third down conversions, St. Mary's was 4 for 12, and Bath was 1 for 9. St. Mary's had 2 punts for 54 yards. Bath had 5 punts for 181 yards. The average drive start didn't change too much for both teams. St. Mary's started the average drive on their 49-yard line, and Bath started on the 26-yard line. Time of possession was about the same as well. St. Mary's 23 minutes and 16 seconds. Bath with 22 minutes and 57 seconds. Looking at some of the stat leaders individually for St. Mary's, Kurt Bupp had 8 attempts, completed 4 of those in passing for 64 yards. His longest was a 22-yard pass. Dylan Troglin had that 1 pass and only 1 attempt on the night, but it was 19 yards and for a pivotal touchdown there. Rushing for St. Mary's, he had Aiden Hinkle with 13 rushes for 40 yards. Longest was 10 yards, and he had a touchdown on the night. Ty Howell had 7 rushes for 20 yards. Longest was 11 yards and average of 2.9 yards for the night. Ethan Wedding, 6 rushes for 38 yards. Longest was 12 yards and 6.3 was his average for the night. Hunter Fraley put a lot of yards in there in the third and fourth quarter. Had 5 rushes, 12 yards, and a long of 4 yards. Receiving for St. Mary's, Ethan Freewalt, 1 reception for 22 yards. Aiden Hinkle, 1 reception for 20 yards. Ty Howe, 1 reception for 19 yards and the touchdown. And Dylan Troglin, 1 reception for 18 yards. Looking at Bath and their individual leaders, for passing, Dallin McDermott, 10 completions on 20 attempts for 136 yards, his longest being that 62-yard pass. No touchdowns and 3 interceptions, though. Rushing, Carter Parlapiano, 10 rushes for 46 yards, his longest being 8 yards, averaging 5 yards per rush. Trey Johnson, 7 rushes for 40 yards, long of 19 yards and averaging 6 yards per rush. And Dallin McDermott, 4 rushes for negative 13 yards, taking a few sacks there.
Mm-hmm.
Zach Simpson was the leading receiver for Bath, thrown to 6 times, caught 4 of them, 82 total yards, but 62 of those 82 yards were in that one catch. Blaine Allwright, thrown to 9 times, caught 4 of them, 47 yards total receiving, and his longest was 35 yards. And Carter Parlapiano had 1 catch on one time thrown to him for 4 yards. So not a really ton of yards on either team. Really the difference tonight was St. Mary's defense and special teams.
Absolutely. Well, special teams scored on a kickoff return, Dylan Troglin, and also 3 interceptions by the Rough Rider defense. One of those was returned for a touchdown as well. So this is a night for the Rough Rider special teams. Rough Rider offense did what they had to do, and they put 35 points on the scoreboard. And the Rough Rider defense did what they had to do, and they kept Bath out of the end zone and only allowed them 7 points on the night. Again, with the win, the Rough Riders run their overall record to 6-2 on the season, 5-2 in the Western Buckeye League. And we want to remind you once again that we will be on the road next week with St. Mary's as they go to Salina to take on the Bulldogs. Zach and I will be on the air with the audio portion of the ball game at approximately 6:45, with the video rebroadcast will come on Monday morning around 10 o'clock on TSC. And then we will be back at home for the final regular season game of the season against the Defiance Bulldogs. So that's going to wrap it up here at Grand Lake Health Systems Field. Once again, the final score, the St. Mary's Rough Riders 35, the Bath Wildcats 7. For Zach Farrell, our audio specialist, Dave Weilbacher, I'm Joe Hurlbert. We'll catch you next week with more Rough Rider football here on Rider Nation Station. Until then, so long, everyone. And we're down to 4, 3, 2, end.